Good evening. Welcome to Fantastic Dimensions. This is M5, John Lamb's homebrewed RPG system, so to speak. So I'm going to hand the reins over to him right away and let him take it from here.
Greetings. This version, M5, is a generic universal setting or system, and we are going to be doing the Zone. The Zone is an homage to Stalker and or Roadside Picnic. Very similar to what you would see in the recent movie Annihilation, where an interdimensional being touched down on Earth. And while it was here for a short period of time, it left what would be considered like metaphysical litter. And it changed and altered and modified and broke to a measure the laws of reality. And it made a small zone of effect, and that zone has been creeping and getting larger and larger, a little bit at a time, very small. I'm going to go over the details of that setting here in a few minutes. But first, Ian has familiarity with system, but Merrick does not. So I have the character sheet up, and we're going to go over the basics really quick because it doesn't take long. And we're going to make two characters real fast, and then we're going to move right into the setting and then the adventure. So starting off with the character sheet, we've got strength, dexterity, and endurance, intelligence, education, and focus. Also, we have a seventh, which is luck, but it's calculated slightly different. The entire system is based off a 2d6, looking for that sweet zone of the 7 and playing off of it. So your basic challenges, as you can see, if you can do something, whether it is drive a car or shoot a bow or pick locks or change a circuit breaker, and there's no challenges involved, it's just something that you do, you succeed. If it is something that has some measure of challenge, some sort of urgency, it's raining, something is happening, then it's a routine challenge, and then difficult, and then formidable. And you'll note that formidable is a 12 or better in 2d6, so it's very unlikely you'll succeed unless you have some skills in it, and the skills are listed below. And let's go to the trade skill, and you'll note that it'll have a number. It'll be a 1, a 2, or a 3, and that equates to an actual plus in itself. I have to break for 1 second, and I'll be right back. Talk amongst yourselves.
Well, have you seen Annihilation, Merrick?
I'm actually broadcasting online.
Merrick?
So go do your thing. I love you.
Oh, Merrick, you're muted.
I hit the wrong mute button.
I thought you left in the middle of his description. I'm like, you son of a bitch.
No, I have not seen that movie yet, but I definitely do want to see that. I remember seeing the preview for it and thinking, wow, that looks great.
You should.
All
It's
right.
really, really good. Really fun.
Yeah, I guess we're talking about Annihilation. Yeah, it's really
Yes.
good.
Yes.
Okay, so back to it. If you were a craftsman, not a craftsman, a tradesman, so you're an electrician and you want to swap out that breaker and you have a 3. So it would be a trade, and you would note that as electrician in your narrative. And so he has a +3. So the 12 becomes a little more achievable in this formidable situation. Say there's huge sparks going off in the middle of a thunderstorm, and you're doing it with a flashlight you're holding in your mouth, that sort of thing. So you'd have the bonuses there. Now, if you were able to get help, someone else to hold the flashlight, someone to cover from the rain, then you would roll with advantage. So you would roll 3 dice, 6, and choose the 2 high. If you ever have to roll at disadvantage, you roll 3d6 and you take the 2 low. All right, so moving on. For normal characters, NPCs, and mundanes, they would roll 2d6 and go right down the stat list. And 1 to 6 is below average, 7 to 9 is average, 10 to 12 is above average, and you get bonuses for each step. So the 7 to 9 is a 0, and the 10 to 12 is +1, 13, 14 +2, and 15 and above is +3. Now you can only get to 12 in the starting process, but you can improve it as you go through, for various reasons. All right, so the reason that player characters roll 1d6 +6 rather than 2d6 is because I feel player characters should be at least average in everything with the potential for more. That's why they're player characters, not, unfortunate schlubs. The 2d6 for luck is a one-time thing. You roll it, that's what you get. There are circumstances in various genres that could improve your luck, And if you are ever put to a challenge and you roll a natural boxcar, you roll the natural 12, you can recover one of your luck points if you have used it. And that also has some cascading other effects. And if you ever roll snake eyes, you will lose a luck point. So it ebbs and flows. And it notes that intelligence, education, and focus bonuses add to perception and initiative checks. If, let's say, you had +1 in all 3 of those, you would have +3 in perception and +3 in initiative checks. So I believe stats have already been rolled. Is that correct?
Yep, I'm all rolled.
Okay. If we don't have any questions on bonuses for that, you'll also note that on the upper right-hand corner, I have a damage reduction with an image of an individual there. You would simply note things like a leather jacket, and you would put a 1 or a 2, depending on what it is. If you had some sort of helmet of some sort, a motorcycle helmet or a football helmet in some sort of post-apocalyptic setting or something, you could note the value of that on there. And regular clothes give you 1, and then boots might give you 2. So depending on what you got on there, and it'll come up with a total. That total is just a generic number that we apply to incoming damage. Now, if something specific happens, then we deal with that specific zone, but I don't do hit location per se. So if you've got a helmet and you get backstabbed, your helmet has no bonus and you won't get anything from it. But if you had, say, 3 points of damage reduction and you took 4 points of damage, it would take 3 away from it. And therefore, we move on. There's 3 types of damage. There is, well, we'll get into that later. Anyway, so now we're going to go on to character creation. So who's going to go first?
So you expect us to encounter all 3 forms of damage, I see.
Indeed.
I will go first because I've kind of done it before, and as in, maybe it'll help it go quicker for Merrick when it's his turn.
Cool.
All right. We have a slight change to the mechanic, but it will be really easy to figure out.
That's fine. By the way, there is no electrician skill.
It's under trades. Tradesman, anybody that would have a certification to do something.
Perfect.
A craftsman is someone who's skilled in doing something that can repeat it for a profession, but it's not a certification. So something like a carpenter or a cabinet maker or something along those lines.
Sure. Okay.
And the trades would fall under electrician or electronics or mechanic or plumber.
Yeah, gotcha. Cool.
Any of those.
Cool. Okay.
All right. So the first thing we're going to do is typically you would start off at 18 and you would commit to a particular career path. There are a number of career paths. And in this case, with a modern setting, there are 20 career paths. And it's in context to what everybody's familiar with in like a D&D setting. You could choose to go the career path of a fighter, and then you might choose to go the career path of a cleric, and you might choose to go to a career path of a rogue, or you could stay with one the whole time. You're not penalized from shifting from side to side or sticking with it. If you stick with it, what'll happen is there's particular skills that come with that profession alone, that career path alone, and you will improve those to a higher degree. So if you focus, you get better at it, and if you spread it out, then you're more balanced. And in this case, I believe the character is going to start at a much younger age because he has a very particular origin story that makes it so. Right. So instead of starting at 18, I'm going to let Ian jump in there with his basic idea of the character first.
Yeah. So my character, Charlie, is a professional zone ranger. He has grown up his entire life living kind of very much in a no-go zone on the border of the zone itself. There's a lot of different rumors that he's heard about his mother. Primarily, the main rumor that he's heard is that she was actually from the zone herself, that she was born and lived inside the zone. And that's how my father, who was a professional ranger, had met her. I don't know if that's true or not because she died when I was just a toddler. And let's see. So Yeah, so she died when I was just a toddler, and so my dad, of course, had to continue with his profession and couldn't exactly hire a babysitter for me because, oh yeah, I forgot to mention I'm a mutant. One of the results of having grown up on the edge of the zone. But yeah, as such, anyway, when I was a young boy, my father started kind of taking me into the zone with him and teaching me the trade. And then he passed away when I was 17, which was not terribly long ago. Just kind of leaving me to myself to continue my own life on my own. And I make frequent trips into the zone, both sanctioned and unsanctioned. I don't really know what else to say from there.
Okay, very good. Now, there are a set of common skills that most people in a modern setting would have access to. Now, let's say that you were going to play a character that had their startup in an Amish situation, or a typical country person, or maybe someone that was from another country, or in this case, because it has an unusual potential with this paranormal setting, someone grew up in a zone, so he really didn't live in a city. He didn't live around the modern options. So when we go into the common skills, we're gonna play with it and see what we can do to make it make a little more sense. But before I go into that,
yeah, I had to make it a little challenging for you,
right?
And also, sorry, just for full disclosure, the fact that I am a mutant, my mutant origin is unknown to anyone at this time, anyway, because
nothing,
that's something I keep
nothing cosmetic. That
so
you can
I said it for full disclosure here during character creation, but yeah,
we're keeping it under the cuff. So your typical 20 career paths, and I know it's a lot, and I'm gonna blow through them really fast. And they have a single word to describe them. So constable is any sort of cop, private security, border patrol. And it's the same way all the way through. So constable, paramedic, firefighter, investigator. You have doctors, scientists, engineers, teachers, academics, criminals, politicians, technicians, harvesters, which are anybody that provides something for society. So like farmers, fishermen, hunters, that sort of thing. Tradesmen are your carpenters, your builders, construction, plumbers, electricians, mechanics. Flyers, anybody who operates a aircraft, or in case of a space sort of thing, spacecraft. Infantry or any sort of military, other than Navy, which accounts for sailors, which are merchant marines, Coast Guard, Navy. Artists include anything for performance, writing, painting, dance, anything like that. Athlete, and then transporter, and that transport anybody that operates heavy equipment, drivers, overland drivers, forklift operators, crane operators, that sort of thing. And in this case, because it is the zone, we have a 21st, which is the ranger. Now, each one of these career paths gets a special skill that nobody else can get. And let me give you an example of the fireman, a firefighter. They gain the special skill of egress. They're able to enter buildings through walls, windows, and doors, ceilings, floors. Now, if you ask yourself, hey, I'm a regular guy and I could do that too, they know how to do it efficiently and quickly. So yeah, you could beat on the wall and figure your way through it, but they know exactly where to do it. So they gain advantage for doing such things. And you would be at disadvantage to do such things. And that's where it comes in. So each one gets something special. So you could bounce between the various career paths as you go through and pick up these specials, which will in fact create your own unique character in the end. And you're welcome to stay in the one or to bounce between. But we're going to start with the first one, which is the common skills. And the way that it works, I'm going to that page, 1 second. The typical common skills, and I've got a whole list of skills that you can see on the list there. The common skills are the ones that are noted in red. Admin, artists, athletics, carousing, computers, driving, gambling, jack of all trades, linguistics, lore, and streetwise. Well, over half of those he's not going to have access to because he didn't have access to any of these things. He's probably never driven a car, may not even ridden in a car. So you get a choice of 3 of these without any duplicates, plus any intelligence or education bonuses. Do you have any intelligence or education bonuses?
I have both. I have a +1 in both.
Okay, so you have 5 total. So we're going to go to admin and say no. We're going to go to artist. You could definitely be an artist of any type you like. Athletics, of course. Carousing is unlikely because there's just not enough people.
Yeah, I don't do people.
Computers, I don't know if you've ever seen a computer. Driving, again, not likely. Gambling is unlikely because of the
social
being alone. Yeah. So definitely it looks like athletics and jack of all trades. Linguistics is definitely a possibility. Perhaps your dad taught you another language because he spoke other languages.
Nah, it's a waste of time.
Okay. And lore, that particular lore would be things that would be known to a person for a particular region or a society.
Yep.
And that would be the zone, obviously. So the zone, and then streetwise, we're just going to go ahead and for this sort of setting, we're going to call it zone wise.
Okay.
For you.
And I have 5 points, or I have to take 5 skills?
You have to take 5. So I don't think you can come up with 5, correct?
Let us see. What do I do? Just circle them?
You go down to your page. Let me pull that same page up again because I was looking at my notes.
Yeah, I'm currently presenting it on screen for everyone to see.
So what you would do is, in the case of making a character to the right-hand side or on a scratch piece of paper, you would just mark a little tick, probably
the left-hand side because there's no room on the right-hand side of some of these, but there is room on the left.
I meant the right. You mark it on the right-hand side, and then you're going to put the number on the left.
I see. Okay.
So, like right now, if you want to,
I'm going to put 1 point in 5 skills, right?
5 of the ones are marked in red, but your streetwise is going to be zone-wise.
So we're going to have zone-wise 1.
Yes.
Now, obviously, this character sheet is not form fillable.
Nope.
That's my first complaint.
I
mean, my first constructive feedback.
I literally just made it.
That it needs to be form fillable. So, what I'll do this on a separate piece of paper. So, 1 point streetwise, 1 point in lore.
Yes.
I will put 1 point in
jack of all trades.
Jack of all trades. 1 point in athletics. That's 4, and I need 1 more of these, huh?
So you don't have access to anything. So let's take a quick look at anything that would make sense. We could go with.
Oh, you mean of the uncommon skills?
Yes, of the uncommon ones before we do anything else. Animals regards. I try to keep everything.
Regarding, actually, I mean, if you're open to feedback or open to some suggestions, I would say, given the kind of secretive nature of my lifestyle. I would think something like either like stealth or recon or survival even.
Yes, absolutely. And by choosing the path of a zone ranger, those will pop up quite frequently. So absolutely, that would be a good choice. Another might be animals. Animals are any sort of husbandry dealing with animals. So either you could
like raising chickens or something,
raising chickens or training horses or teaching dogs or just being really good with animals or knowing hands-on information about animals. Whereas an academic would know book information. Someone that was familiar with animals would have hands-on. So
yeah, I think raising animals out there on the border of the zone would attract too much attention. So I probably
or knowing animals, being able to identify them, that sort of thing. Completely up to you.
Nope. I am thinking actually survival because I probably have to live a lot through foraging and stuff like that. So
when you choose survival, again, I just made this up. It's going to have a space for it, but we're going to know that it's zone survival.
Yeah, just like we know it's zone wise and not street wise, and we know it's zone lore.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay.
That's your initial 5. And now I'm going to go back to mine. Now, when you get to the point of your career, each of these career stints, we're not going to call them tours, they're career stints, are 2 years. They're 2 commitments. And typically we start at 18. If you have a reason to start earlier, you narratively construct that and say, this is what I offer for because you don't have to have an idea. You can just start making a character and let it build. But in this case, if you had something in mind, I started early because I apprenticed at this age. I started earlier because I didn't have a choice. I was homeless or, I lived on the street, whatever it is. And in this case, he was thrown to the wolves. There was no other place to be other than with Dad. So he offered to start at 12, and then we did 1d6 less, and he rolled a 6. So he started at 6. So we're going to start him at 6.
Wow.
Very young.
I'm going to have a lot of skills.
Yes, he should.
Or I'm going to die.
Right. So, what we do is when you get ready to do your career check, and that's to see if you had a successful 2 years, you choose. Would you rather improve your stats by 1 point, and the stats that improve have to do with whatever career you've chosen? So you've chosen that, so it affects a particular set of skills.
Okay.
Or a particular set of stats, and take your special skill, and that's what you get for your 2 years. You don't got to check anything. Or you can do a career check where there's a small chance for a failure.
And
but there's also a good chance that you get 2 or 3 skills.
Okay, gotcha. And what zone? Sorry, what was the name of the profession for?
For him, we're just going to go with a simple one-word title of Ranger.
Ranger. Sorry, that was the term. I was trying to remember what the word was. Ranger.
But it's a Zone Ranger. I didn't want to use Stalker out of respect for the game that had the support by the author.
And what stats are lumped in with Ranger?
If you went with the stat side, the special skill is called Gestalt. And Gestalt, I went with the actual meaning of the word, the untranslatable German word that means to make sense and or thrive in the face of chaos. So the example would be, there's a riot going on, and you see that one guy or that one girl walking through the riot as if they were going to the mall, unaffected by everything that was around them. They know what's going around. They know what's around them, but it doesn't affect them on an emotional basis because they can interpret everything and they can just move through it.
Gotcha.
And in the case of this,
the zone is chaos.
It applies to the zone. Now, if we were to do a different version of the game and deal with World of Darkness or something like that, the Gestalt would be something that they could see magic. They might be able to sense evil. But in this
Gestalt
case, it's
not on the character sheet, so
you add that to the lower right-hand side where that space is.
I did. Yep. Okay. So that's the special skill involved. And what are the stats?
Endurance or focus. Those are the two you could improve by one or the other.
Those are two of my lowest.
Well, it would make sense to build on the character being so young, you know.
That's true. Yep, exactly. Okay, cool. So for the first 2 years, I can put a point into Gestalt and one of those if I want, or I can make a career check and possibly get up to 3 skills, right? Or
get nothing.
Right. Exactly.
And the ratio to that is, let me go back up to it. If you roll a 2, it is a failure. You get nothing. And then you roll again, 2d6. If you roll another 2, a dramatic life-changing event. And if you rolled another 2, he would die. Now, before this becomes the great traveler, we die in character generation, it's a 1 in 46,655 chance of that happening.
Right.
So 1 in 50,000. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
3 through 11, you get 2 skills, and if you roll a 12 or higher, you get 3.
Okay, cool. Well, for the first year, I will definitely take the point in Gestalt, and I will improve my endurance.
Okay.
For the next 2 years after that,
I'm taking notes as you do it as well. Hold on. So we went from 6 to 8.
So 8. Now I'm going to go up to 10 years old. I'm going to take another point in Gestalt and put a point into Focus.
Okay, so now I have 2 points in Gestalt and 1 in Focus. Okay.
And 1 in Endurance as well. Don't forget.
I have the Endurance already.
Okay, cool. Then up to 12 years old, I will put another point into Endurance and put another point into Gestalt, of course.
Okay, so you're up to 3.
Yeah, now I'm pretty happy with where my Endurance and Focus are at for the character.
At 13, it makes sense. It's a good structure, a good way to start off.
And so at this point, I will start making rolls. So now going up to 14 years old.
Okay. Do you have any bonuses in Endurance or Focus?
Yes, I have +1 in each.
Okay. The way it works is you can have the bonus, whichever one is the highest, and apply it to your roll.
Okay. So I roll 2d6 and add the bonus.
Yeah. So
that means it's impossible for me to get a 2.
Now, if you roll a 2, you still take the deficit.
Still take the chance. Yeah.
You take the deficit.
Okay. No, that's fine. That's 9. So I get 2 skills, right?
2 skills. You get 2 chances, and the way that it works is I have 2 to 12. You roll 2d6. Everything's 2d6. Okay. And I have a sweet spot. I put the stuff that you would want at 7. I put the stuff that you would like at 6 and 8. And
so what's at 7?
A 7 is survival zone.
Okay. And the second one is a 6.
A 6 is a choice of recon or craftsman. And the craftsman in this case is forest craft. You're able to construct stuff out of forest materials.
And recon is for like scouting?
Exactly. It's scouting.
To gather information for using your powers of observation?
It's basically tracking and finding paths. And
cool. I'll put a point in recon.
Okay.
Now I got to level up to age 16. I'll make another check. That's going to be another 9. So it's 2 skills.
Okay, and you're doing your Gestalt improvements, correct?
Oh, I forgot to do that. Okay,
so you're up to 5.
That's automatic, right?
Yep, up to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're up to 5 now.
I am now, yes. Okay, so I rolled a 5 on this first skill.
That is Jack of all trades.
Cool.
So that brings you up to 2, I believe.
Yes. And the second one is a 7, so it's another survival zone.
Correct.
Okay. So now I'm 16 years old. Let's go up to 18. Okay, I rolled a 5 on my survival check, or whatever you want to call it, your career check. So
Jack of all trades?
Your skills. No, that was for the...
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, yes, very good. So you did not fail.
So I put a point into Gestalt.
Okay.
And then my first roll is an 8.
8 is trades, tracker, forager, things that relate to forest specifically. They would be, you don't have any training, but basically it would be anything like
something that I've developed my own.
It could be like a lumberjack. You could be a forager. You could be a fisherman. You could be a typically, because you're not a harvester, because you're not providing for others, but you're providing for yourself.
What about a guide?
Absolutely. It goes along with your recon. This is
that's kind of like my cover, right? My legit gig is that I occasionally guide people into the zone.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay. So I'll put a point into guide, and my second skill is 8 again. So I guess that's another guide, another point.
Very good. You could choose a different direction, but you can stick in the same one. Now, before you roll again, this puts you.
I'm not going to roll again.
Let's just
stay at 18. Sorry.
Okay. Let's say that someone didn't want to stay at 18, but they still had that same character profile. If we went back to the career paths and we looked to see if there's anything that he could possibly pick up and add to it. Looking through. He could be an investigator, because you're not trained an investigator, but you have very specific knowledge of that area. So you could be someone that has a curious mind, has developed that troubleshooting process, and uses it through the zone to find things. So in particular, like, hey, I'm looking for this particular thing. I am looking for, water. How is the best way to find, pure water? Find a particular animal. So an investigator would be somebody that could process that. So it's just a different way of approaching it. Harvester could definitely work, because it's someone that's a farmer, fisherman, hunter. So you could be a hunter or a gatherer or a forager on a more professional basis, where you're actually providing enough for others. And obviously you could do artist if you wanted to, but yeah, those two you could do if you wanted to try it.
Yeah, I'm okay with what my career things has done. But I got a quick question for you, actually, regarding the skill, because I might change my trade. I'm not sure entirely. You said something about a trade could be a forager, right? Now, What about survival? Wouldn't survival cover foraging?
Survival is all you
Well,
have.
I'm just saying, what would be the difference?
Right. You have again, the system is meant specifically to be a simplified way to approach it. So you could come at a problem with 2 or 3 different skills, and you could approach them in different ways. So someone that was a forager for themselves would only choose enough to eat right now. But someone that was a harvester and was a forager would have knowledge of collecting more and the processes of drying it and so forth like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a different way of approaching this.
I'm happy with the way it is. Yep.
Okay.
Cool.
So you're done? You're good?
Yeah. So I'll start writing my numbers in and erasing the little tick marks.
Okay. So now we're going to go over to Merrick.
Hello.
Let me get back to the image in case you have any questions about the character sheet. Now, you had some questions about the character sheet before we started. So if you can remember any of those that I answered, jump in so we can tell the others.
Okay, so the main thing I wanted to know is, what is the focus stat? What does that mean?
Focus is exactly what it says, in that it is what you apply your intelligence and your education, which is things that you've learned.
Okay, so like how easily distracted you might be.
Exactly. It's how focused you literally how focused you are, how you perceive your environment. Part of that if you had terrible focus, well, it's going to affect your perception, because you're just not going to be, I missed that. I didn't hear that. I didn't catch what you were saying. I didn't see that. No, I missed it. Or somebody that catches everything and doesn't let on that they know. And what hasn't come up yet is that you'll notice there's no hit points. Strength, dexterity, endurance are your physical stats.
Okay.
Intelligence, education, and focus are your mental or emotional stats.
Okay.
So in the case of a classic Call of Cthulhu, where you have a sanity check, I have a mental health check. And it could be from stress and strain. It could be from seeing something horrible, like somebody get ripped in half. It could be something horrible, like somebody get ripped in half by a monster. And if you take damage, physical damage, you allocate that damage after any damage reduction to your strength, dexterity, endurance, so it will wear you down.
Got it.
So unlike D&D, where you fight till the last second at your full strength,
right?
This actually is a more realistic approach to it. So now they're player characters, and typically, if you got in a barroom fight, you'd be bloodied and bruised, but you're still going to be standing and you're ready for the next guy. Whereas,
it's like watching the hallway scene in Daredevil, where he starts off just kicking all kinds of ass, and by the end of it, he just staggers out of there.
Exactly. And you choose what direction it goes in. And eventually it'll start taking away your bonuses and get you into the negative realms. Right. If you ever get to 0 for physical stats, that basically means that you're stunned. And if you ever get to 0 in 2 of them, then you're unconscious. And if you ever get to 3 zeros, you're dead. And that, by dead, it means if somebody doesn't do something medically to give you at least 1, then you're going to bleed out or you're going to die in spot. Now, the process for the mental, let me get to my little thing here. If you ever get down to 0 for your mental, then it affects your emotional and mental stability. So you would become emotionally and mentally unstable. Right. So you would have -3 to any and all actions. Oh. So if you had +3 with a sword, you now are at 0. If you had nothing with a sword, you already have minuses. Now you have even more minuses. If you ever get 2 zeros in any of the categories, you have a mental or emotional breakdown, -6 to all actions. Okay. So unless you have a high skill, it's unlikely you're going to succeed at anything.
Okay.
And if you ever get 3 zeros across your emotional and mental category, you have shutdown or catatonic.
Okay.
Which requires 1 point at least to break you out of that. But then you're still at those incredible minuses. Sure. So you can see it's one of those things where it wears you down and actually puts it into context. You get shot with a shotgun. It's going to take a lot out of you, but being player characters, you can probably stagger off and try to heal yourself up Hollywood style.
Right. Okay, I like it.
And if it ever comes up, luck is exactly what it is. You can apply as much or as little of the luck to a roll as you like whenever you like. So if you make your roll and you fail it and you feel you need to make that roll, you may take those luck points and add to it. And as I noted before, if you ever roll boxcars during a challenge, you can recover one of your points in game. If you ever roll snake eyes in a challenge, then you lose a point of luck, along with other things that are going to happen.
Sure.
Okay, so your character, you have a general idea of your character as well. So go ahead and describe that person.
All right, so I am playing Ashley Taylor, and I'll read the little backstory blurb I made up for her. So she's an actress, age 26. When Ashley moved to California to start her great acting career, she figured she'd be a much different stage of it at the age of 26. After a few bit parts in TV dramas, she landed a gig as the main character in a national ad campaign for a major burger chain as the Burger Girl, a superhero-type character with the catchphrase, always tasty, always fresh. And after 40-plus commercials and 2 years later, she's found that despite becoming a household name, very few people actually know her name. So completely frustrated at being typecast as the Burger Girl, Ashley has desperately sought for a way to make her big break. Fortune finally favored her when she happened to overhear her manager talking to a friend about an upcoming film looking for a female lead to play a ranger, a zone ranger. The best part, the room is rumored to be directed by Ridley Scott. So this was it. It was her big chance. Ashley was able to convince her manager that the right thing to do would be to let her go into the zone and get actual experience in there. So he cashed in a lot of his favors to get her that permission to get in. So she grabbed the camera so she can record her venture in there and give proof that she was actually there, so that when the time that audition rolls around, how the hell are those other actresses going to stand up to the fact that here's someone who was actually in there and knows what really goes on?
Very good. So we're going to start her at 18, unless you think that she should start it at earlier. Now, being a model and so forth.
Right. I would think she would go too much younger, but I would think she would have started acting in high school. So maybe 16, if you want to push it down a little bit.
16 works.
Okay.
We'll start with 16.
Definitely not like age 6, like young Charlie here.
Right. Well, he was practically raised by wolves, so.
Exactly.
Hey, what can I say? I'm a prodigy.
Exactly.
Right? All right, so we're going to start her off at 16. At the various career paths, and I know you have the main list, but my role in this setting would be as a career counselor. I would try to help you get started or to get over stumbling blocks when you're making decisions. So, what sort of start would you want to be discovered or learning the trade from school?
I would imagine that it would be artist, like acting, with a focus on acting and performance.
Sounds good to me. All right, so let's go to artist.
She's not going to have. She's a normal person. She grew up in a big city. She went to
good call on the normal person. Let's look at your common skills first.
Pretty high stats, but I rolled pretty well. Not for everything, but you know what I mean.
So, do you have bonuses for intelligence and or education?
I have 1 bonus in intelligence. That's it.
Okay, so you have 4 points or 4 considerations for choices of the common skills: admin, artist, athletics, carousing, computers, driving, gambling, jack of all trades, linguistics, lore, and streetwise.
Okay.
No duplicates, so you would choose between those.
So
and because you were a regular person and not a wild child, you will stick with these choices here.
Right. So a question about linguistics. If I pick linguistics, can I make it a focus on accents rather than languages?
Oh, for sure. If you want to skip the whole thing as far as like not even speaking another language, but you're just really good at coming up with a handful of different accents, that's perfectly acceptable.
Who can like fake it?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so I would say
yeah, you could like even be pretending you're speaking another language, and unless somebody actually speaks that language, they don't realize you're just talking nonsense. That'd be cool.
Exactly.
And then you bat your eyes and flip your hair back.
Right. So I'm thinking artist, definitely.
Okay.
And athletics, linguistics, and I'm actually thinking carousing.
Okay. And for those that are asking, carousing is being social butterfly. You're able to enter a crowd and fit right in. Those are the types of people who become like the subject of the party, you know, the party favor, the person that can gain information. Now, if you went in there to get information or to find somebody, you would use carousing to work your way through the crowd.
Right.
And the way the jack of all trades work is whatever number you end up with jack of all trades, it allows you an attempt at skills you don't have any training in, so you can reduce the minuses involved.
Right. I thought about that, but I figured if not really, because if she's using any skills, it's a skill that's set up on the film set, so she doesn't actually know the skill. They just make it look like she does, so she didn't really learn how to do the stuff. So that's
Fair
why
enough.
I said trades. And what
Okay.
was said as like, you know, young actor.
You have the choice also at any point at the beginning of a career stint, not just the first one, at any of them, to choose whether you want to take the special and improve one of the stats that's included, or to take the career check.
Okay, so what's the special for artist?
I'm going to pull it down here so I can tell you. I got a whole bunch of pages. All right, artist. Artist is any sort of performance, writing, dance, painting, singing, music, anything like that.
All right.
The special skill is create. They are able to develop a muse and create something from nothing, whether it be materials or lyrics or music or dance or whatever.
Right.
And the stats involved would be education or focus.
Okay, so I can either take a point in create, or I can improve education or focus.
Nope. If you choose to go the first route, you automatically get 1 in create.
Okay.
And you may improve education or focus by 1.
Okay, so I take 1 point in create, and then I can improve education or focus.
Or take a chance of failure or higher success with random.
Okay. We're going to go then. We're going to go with 1 create.
Okay.
Oops, that's wrong item. Hold on here. Let me grab my pencil rather than ink. I don't know why I picked that up. Okay, so create. We're going to get 1 in there, and we'll put 1 point into focus.
Okay.
Where's my eraser? There it is. All right. So that's 9 now. Okay. So that's at the very start.
All right. So now we go at 18 to 19. Do you want to stick with artist, or you want to try one of the other career paths?
I would imagine that her whole life she just wants to be an actress. So
okay. Let's look at let's take a quick look and see if there's anything that would benefit an actress real quick.
Okay.
You know, going to college would always help in the long run as far as life, but it may not be the path that she took.
Right.
Her
education is pretty low, so I'm going to say she skipped college.
Fair enough. And if it was a case of I was on my own, I didn't have any money to do anything, you might join the military to try to get you through it. But as it is right now, you might even be a criminal. You might like deal drugs or something on the side. Actually, be a burglar or something to make ends meet. But if you want to stick with artist, or you could become a different kind of artist. Let's say you have been a sculptor, you could go into a trade and learning actual hands-on how to build stuff. Okay. Or the craft, but in their case, artist makes sense, so we'll stick with artist.
Okay, so before we move on though, so when I pick those 4 skills, they each have 1 point in them now.
Correct, they had 1.
All right. Okay. Yeah, so we'll stick with artist. So what
for your next stint? Would you like to try to do the same thing? Take the create and either improve one of those 2 stats or go for the random?
I think I'll go with the random now, because she's not so much like the creator in there. So the one, so she has like some knowledge of how to do it, but
you had a bonus in education or focus.
No, I have a bonus in intelligence,
but neither in focus or in education. Okay.
Neither.
So you're rolling straight. So you're trying to avoid a 2. Tell me what you get.
So what I rolled? 2d6?
2d6. Straight up.
I rolled 5.
5. Okay. So you have a success. You get 2 skills. So now I need 2d6 twice.
Okay, so the first one is 5.
Okay.
Second one is 4.
Okay. 4 is actually engineering. And the reason it's engineering for an artist is because you're learning the structure of the art. It's how to build things. Now, this doesn't fit in what you were doing.
Right.
So what we would do is we would shift that to fit something that was more along the lines of what you were.
So like stagecraft.
It could be stagecraft, exactly. So we're going to shift that to a craft. We're going to do stagecraft.
Okay, so I put that up. So rather than put the point in engineering, we'll make it in craftsman and make it stagecraft.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then your other one was
5
5
first and then a 4.
Okay, so the 4 we just did stagecraft. Okay. The 5 is, I know it's going to sound odd, but it's admin or bureaucracy, and the reason is because you're dealing with paperwork and red tape, or you're dealing with people who deal with these contract people and managers and all that rest of that stuff. So you choose to go the paperwork route, or you choose to go with the people route.
Bureaucracy.
You're going to go bureaucracy? Okay. Yeah. Now, whenever it comes up to a case where you have to deal with somebody and they tell you something like, okay, we'll come back in a week and we'll set you up for an interview, you would pressure using your bureaucracy to well, you know what? Because I have this form, I know that if I use a $14.99, I can get seen a lot quicker, and you could apply it. You could apply it that way.
Okay.
Whereas if somebody else tried it without that, they'd have to try to use persuade or just take a risk and roll -3 to try to succeed.
Sure.
Okay, so you got bureaucracy 1. So that takes you up to 19. So you are now looking at 20 to 21. Do you want to stick as an artist?
Yes.
All right. Do you want to go with the automatic success for 1, or do you want to take a chance?
Another roll. Let's do another chance.
All right. 2d6.
All right. First is 5.
All right. 2 skills.
Second one, right? I roll again?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
2 times.
Is 8.
An 8. Okay. Got it. And a second roll?
Oh, it was 5 for the first roll, 8 for the second. Oh, wait. 5. What is, so wait, hold on then. Because he was talking about automatic increases in skills, right? To his Gestalt thing.
Yeah, that was your create. Every time you have a stint, like you're on your 3rd stint, so you're on create 3 now.
Okay, so then I only rolled 2D. I only rolled twice for the second round. Oh, okay, I got it. So you roll 1 to see if you make it, and then you roll again to see what skills you get.
Correct. So you rolled an 8.
Right.
You rolled a 5 for a success. You rolled an 8 for the particular type, and now you roll again to see what other type you get.
Okay, so I'm rolling. I didn't roll 3 times for the second round though.
The second round you rolled for success, and then you rolled a 5 and a 4 for which type of skills you got. So now you just did a success, which is 1. You rolled an 8, which is 2, and you're going to roll again, which is 3.
Which is 11.
Okay. All right. So 11 is persuade. There's no choice. You just get persuasion.
Makes sense.
That's really good. So you got persuasion 1.
Okay.
Now the 8 is either dealing with some sort of trade, because some artists learn how to weld or build stuff.
Sure.
Or it could be acting.
Yep.
Or it could be photography.
We'll do acting.
Or it could be trades or computers. Your choice.
We'll go with the acting. So that's
okay.
2 points in that.
All right, your trade is acting. Now, if it ever came down to it and you needed to make an influential appearance to somebody, and maybe they were of a different language or a different culture, you could combine your skills to gain advantage. You wouldn't combine all the numbers. You'd say, okay, I'm going to act like somebody from his country and try to get him over onto my side to do what I want them to do. So I'm going to do a persuade, and because you have these related skills, you gain it with advantage.
Got it. So I would roll 3d6.
Exactly, and choose the 2 highest.
Cool.
Okay, so now you're 22. What was the age that you wanted to cap off at? I'm not going to hold you to it. 26. Okay. Definitely not going to hold you to it. I was just throwing it out there. If you'd like to stay as an artist, you may continue on. You can either, you're going to do the roll. Okay. So you do one roll to see if you have a success.
Okay. That is a 7.
All right. So you have 2 skills coming. So you're going to roll 2
And
D6.
that create goes up to my 4th level now?
Correct.
Okay.
Create goes to 4.
Okay. So 2d6
Twice.
Is a 9.
Okay.
And a 7.
A 7. Okay. 7 is going to be craft or artist.
We'll go with artist. So acting.
Right. And your 9 is linguistics or legal law. Again, dealing with contracts and so forth.
All right. We'll go with law.
Okay.
I've read a lot of contracts.
Right.
All right. Cool. And then this is the last set. We're on 24 to 26 now, or?
You went to 23. You were on 23 to 24.
Okay. So this is, so where are we on now?
You would decide whether you want to take the automatic success for the 1 or take a risk.
We're going to keep going with the risk.
All right. 2d6.
All right. That's an 8.
All right. So you get 2 skills. You can roll 2d6 twice.
Okay. And that's a 5 in create now.
Correct.
Okay. I rolled a 6 and I rolled an 8.
Okay. You are dealing with craftsman or artist.
Okay. Definitely artist.
Okay. And then you're dealing again with trades or computers.
Okay. No, let's put a point in computers.
Okay.
All right.
So now you're at your 25, 26. And if you're asking yourself, if you're listening to it and you're saying, hey, why don't I just keep going?
Right.
When you hit 36, every time you do a stint challenge after that, you take a risk of losing a point of strength,
Right.
a point of dexterity, and a point of endurance each time.
Okay.
So eventually the ravages of aging and life will start to tick away at you.
Sure. Okay. All right.
So you're going to move up to 6 for your create.
Okay.
And if you want to take your risk, you do your 2d6 for success.
So should I first roll for the success? All right. Duh. That's what you just
Correct.
said.
Correct.
All right.
No worries.
This is the last one, right?
Yep.
I rolled an 8. So
All right.
Right.
Yep. You have 2 skills.
All right. I got 6 and 11.
Okay. Craftsman or artist again. You're an artist. That's the stuff they mostly get.
Right.
And then persuasion.
All right. Excellent. Cool. So let's make these actual numbers on here. And that's it, right?
Yes, sir. That's it.
Okay.
Let me go back to the sheet so I can see if there's anything we need to note. Okay. So when you look at your intelligence, education, and focus, if you have any bonuses, make sure you put that. If you'll see that little space between luck and the little blurb about add to perception, then you would put that little plus down there. I meant to put a little circle. I just ran out of time. So if you had 1 in each, you'd put a +3 right there, so you would know to add it to your.
Have a +1.
Okay. Have you both calculated your luck?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now let's go ahead and do a quick payload of what you're wearing, if it has any effect of on your damage reduction. If you got now, the zone is full of a lot of craziness, and you can get into atmospheres that are a little rough. So you will have access to that classic thin raincoat style NBC outfit.
Okay.
And a disposable gas mask. That's part of the cost of paying to get in there. You will get access to those. Now, as far as the other stuff, your boots, your clothes, any sort of things that reflect if someone was to shoot you or punch you or cut you or you to fall down a cliff, these are things that would prevent your skin and your flesh from being damaged.
Sure. So I would think I would have bought like some hiking boots and sturdy pants, like canvas or jeans, whichever
Okay,
one.
so go to the image that I provided there and darken in these sections that you note. So you darken in the feet and you would put a little note of 2. And you would darken in the legs and you'd put a note of 1.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm imagining some sort of jacket.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like would you bring a leather jacket? Probably.
All right. So with it being the torso, no doubt there's at least 1 shirt, if not 2 shirts in the jacket. So we're going to put it as a 2 also. So you would darken that area in and note that it's a 2.
Okay. For heads, you probably just have like a ball cap.
Yeah, you don't get anything for a ball cap.
Right.
Skull cap, beanie, you don't get nothing for it.
Should probably bring some gloves with her, but might not be wearing them yet.
Oh, absolutely. You could definitely want to bring gloves. And as far as equipment, whatever personal stuff that they would want to bring, they would suggest that you bring the basics for traveling into a hostile environment. So
Okay.
you're going to bring a whistle, a couple flashlights, a backpack, a back roll, a bedroll, a couple canteens. Don't drink the water, and food. Don't eat the food. As far as like in the zone,
Right.
bring toilet paper, some sort of knife, whether it be a Rambo knife or a small knife. Bring something, right?
Mhm.
And typically, there's not like roving raiders or anything like that. So you'd have to get permission. You'd have to have a carry license to take in a gun. So if you want to try to sneak one in, you can try. But you would just note those items down that you would like. And if there's anything other than what I said, then just note it. Keep in
Right.
mind that there's absolutely no positive reception. So you're not going to have access to your internet. You're not going to have access to the phones. Nothing electronics works.
Mhm.
You send a drone in, you'll get a few pictures, and the drones never come back.
So, like, if I brought a GoPro in with me, it wouldn't work.
It will only work for. There's a chance that a GoPro, it's not broadcasting anything.
Right.
It's the broadcasting that's the problem. So you might have some inconsistencies, but you definitely would be able to use a GoPro. I mean, and let's say you could have it shielded in lead. Your GoPro will work.
Okay.
You could have it spray painted in lead. You'll be okay.
Okay.
But I'm going to take this minute that I noted earlier. The baby just arrived, so note your equipment.
Yeah, I'll start doing that while you take the bio.
And if you have any questions, bounce it to Ian. And if anything makes sense, then it's going to be a yes from me. Because that's what the whole thing about the system is. It's if it's intuitive and it makes sense, then do it. And I'll be right back.
All right. Cool.
Let's see here.
Gas mask. Ball cap. I already had that right up there. Okay.
Yeah.
Lip balm. Got to write that down. That's important. I have no weapons other than, like a hunting knife, but
I don't have much either for weapons. I
Yeah.
don't think combat in the zone isn't something you usually want to get into anyway.
Probably not.
I have a couple tools that can function as weapons, but yeah, it's not their main purpose at all.
Right. I think I'm all set. So I got that hazmat suit thing, gas mask. Oh, I don't need to write that there. I have it written up above. Get rid of that pen. I keep thinking it's my eraser.
Let's see.
All right. Oh, go grab that drink now that I think about it. I forgot to do it earlier.
Go do it.
Well,
I'm going to mute you because I don't know what you're doing to your mic. That's better. I guess I could take the character sheet off there. I'll leave it up there anyway, just for shits and giggles. John, if you watch this later, I'll tell you in person anyway too, but just remember you need to add a place on this character sheet for a name, and I think you should definitely put the title of your game on there somewhere. Never seen a character sheet for a game before that didn't have the title of the game on it somewhere at least. But yeah, just a little constructive feedback for the character sheet. Hopefully I'll remember to tell you in person anyway.
Okay, back. Sorry, we just had
Sorry, Merrick went to get a drink.
we had the 1-month-old baby arrive for babysitting day, so I had to make an appearance.
Okay, cool.
All right, what do we got here? Okay, what was your total? What was your logical total for your damage reduction layout? Payload.
Well, let's see. I figure I have leather jacket, leather gloves, leather trousers. That's just for protection purposes. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It probably sucks when it's hot, but what can you do? Hiking boots, disposable gas mask, extra filters, survival knife, dark sunglasses, a multi-pouch fanny pack, kind of similar to the little utility belt pack, whatever that he's wearing in the image, I think there.
Right.
In those pouches, I did note below, one of them has a bunch of extra nuts and strips of cloth in it.
Mhm.
A little throwback to the classic Stalker film.
Of course.
One of them has some of those fluorescent mushrooms in it.
Mhm.
But I'm getting low. And what else do I have? I've got a hatchet. I've got some fire starting tools. I didn't know what to call it. But like the,
Absolutely. Okay, so
bow with string and a stick and all that shit, and you use it to make a fire manually.
when you noted your items that were
I should
on,
also have, I suppose, a flashlight.
of course, yeah, absolutely.
God damn.
all right.
Extra batteries.
Could even have the wind-up style, solar charger, whatever.
Ooh, that's a good call. Wind up flashlight. That makes more sense. A kinetic flashlight, isn't that what it's called?
You just shake them up, charge them up. Yeah, those are much
Yeah,
better.
you have the shake ones or the actual crank ones. You have a little cranker on them.
Okay.
So you don't have to do
Oh,
the.
could I have a few of those snappable glow sticks?
Oh yeah, those are good.
For sure, yeah. Absolutely, because people will pay anyone that goes into the zone for pictures. They will pay for sound recording. They'll pay for firsthand reviews of what they saw. Everything has a value, so it's not like you don't have any resources when you come out anyway.
Right.
Okay. Cool.
All right. The types of damage.
So yeah, for damage reduction, right? With all that stuff I have,
Basically,
it's like leather armor.
Right. What I was going to explain it was all objects are either fragile, resilient, or hardened.
Mm-hmm.
Fragile items, any damage that exceeds the threshold of that causes destruction.
Mm-hmm.
So, like for example, a wine glass, a well-made wine glass might have a fragility rating of 1. A cheap wine glass will have a 0. So if anything happens to it, even bump it, it shatters. But a good wine glass, a really well-made glass, you can probably do a full point of damage to it before it'll destroy. Resilient is damage that's applied directly, and once it exceeds the value, that value is reduced by 1 by any damage that exceeds it. So for example, let's say you had a leather jacket and it had a value of 2. I allowed for 3 because you had the clothing and so forth underneath it, but we're just going to say a jacket. Here's some weirdo wearing it with like a wife beater or something, just a t-shirt. And you were to take 3 points of damage to this 3-point thing, it would nullify it out. You wouldn't take any damage. But if you took 4, you would take 3 points off and reduce the value of the leather jacket by 1. It would become a 2, and then a 1, and then a 0. So it's ablative. Hardened, the damage must exceed the toughness factor to cause any result, and it must be a critical excess to reduce it by 1. So if you had hardened leather, and it was a hardened leather of 3, and you took 4 points of damage, you're still going to take a point of damage, but it won't hurt the hardened leather at all unless it was a critical hit that came in. So none of the stuff that you have is hardened. It's all resilient. So that's why you layer it. So if you can logically work out your layers for yourself when you're looking at it. So if you were to say, like, I'm going to include one more that you may not have included, and that's your backpack. Again, we're not doing hit locations, but if something happens specifically, you get your leg caught in whatever, you don't get to count your backpack. You would count only the things for your leg.
That makes sense.
So if you've got heavy leather boots, it's 2. If you've got regular clothing, jeans, it's 1. If you've got hard leather, pants that are made for survival, then it's 2. You got a hard leather jacket or a thick leather jacket, it's 2. If you got shirts on underneath, it's another 1. So you would have 3 for the top, 2 for the bottom, and 2 for the feet, as far as what Ian was describing. Now the gloves and all that, we're not counting that because it's a small impact zone. We're not doing those. The shoes we do because you walk on them all the time. If it comes down to it and you say you're putting your gloves on, then we will count that towards whatever, if it's cold or it's hot or it's prickly or whatever like that. So I imagine y'all are in the 4, 5, 6 range.
Yeah, I'm about 5.
Okay. So in the circumstance that let's say you took 6 points of damage, because it is resilient damage, you would have 5 of it reduced. You would take 1 point and you would reduce your outfit by 1. So you'd have to decide where it comes from.
Okay.
And you would just put an X.
Gloves.
Yeah. So you put a little X on it. So like you might put an X on your pants or an X on the jacket or a -1 on the jacket. However you want to account for it. That's really the only accounting that you really got to worry about. There's no figuring out for a specific. Now, if somebody does a called shot, then we'll figure out whatever you have on that spot.
So how do we figure out the points here for this stuff again?
Let's start with
Jacket is
what it would start with. If the clothing item is mundane and regular, it's 1. If it's something that's hard and tough, that's meant for being out, then it's 2. If it's hardened and ready for battle, combat, or ablative, it's 3.
And the backpack counts as well?
It does. You get another full 1 for the backpack.
Okay, so that's 3, 4, 5, 6, and the boots would be 7, yeah? Plus 2 as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
so I'm at a damage reduction of 7.
Backpack would put me at 6.
That's good. Now, if you were naked, your damage reduction would be 0.
Right. Well, I hope not to be naked in here.
Right. If you were, say, running in a street level superhero version of this game, you might automatically get a toughness rating. So you both might have toughness rating of 5, butt ass naked. You get 5.
Okay. Cool. I think I'm good.
Okay. Me too. Very good. All right. Now I'm going to go to the little blurb. If you think you've got everything that you need,
I think I do.
Let us go to the write-up for the event. It takes place in the original. Let me go right to it. Modern horror theme, science fiction and horror mashed together. This is to honor the sci-fi novel Roadside Picnic and as an homage to the movie that had the name Stalker. There is a game out, and I do support it. This is just an overlay because I really like the idea of it. Basically, in some way, an interdimensional being touched down for what could have been a second or it could have been years in context to the being, but they were out of sync or out of alignment to our reality, so it's completely unknown how long they were there. The footprint of the fringe radiation and the related contact with it created a series of ripples in our mundane reality, and then it was gone. The zone centered on Mount Shasta, California, dead center on Mount Shasta, California, as if it had just walked around the mountain or sat on the mountain or touched down or whatever it was on the mountain. And some yaysayers say that it's there because that's a major key point for ley lines on the Earth. It's one of the intersection points, one of the nexus points of ley lines. So that's a big point of speculation. And this happened in 1983 when the first event. It was a perfect circle of 1 mile radius to the center. Since then, it's grown without any consistent pattern. It ebbs and flows. They can't figure out what makes it ebb and flow. And some suspect it has something to do with solar radiation, some magnetics, but obviously nobody has an idea. But basically, it expanded 1.5 miles every year ever since. Once in 1987, it surged to 2 miles within a few minutes. And then in 2000, it didn't grow at all. So there's really no rhyme or reason to it. The height of the effect has been consistent, however. It never exceeded 10 miles. And it tapers down to a few feet in some of the extreme edges. But for the most part, the major point that it makes any contact up is 10 miles. Now, it doesn't have the full fringe effect at 10 miles, but that's why there's almost no satellite coverage. You can't get good imagery. They try to take photographs and it's all blurry. They just can't penetrate it. So it's all witness and handheld equipment. There seemed to be some correlation to the lower limit of the ozone layer affecting the upward growth. So there's some major scientific speculation on that. There have been many excursions to test the ground beneath the zone, but due to long-term exposure and equipment failure and thus the related data, it's very limited at best how deep it goes. The suspect is that it goes 10 miles down, but there is no way to know because they just can't stay there long enough to figure it out. The zone has expanded to this modern date right at 50 miles since the first recorded date in 83.
Sorry, is that radius or diameter?
In radius.
Okay, thank you.
It has nearly reached the West Coast, and the community of Crescent City, California is the latest one to be evacuated. It has now reached the edge of the Crescent City. Though a few refuse to leave, it has reached Red Bluff, California to the south, Lake City, California to the east, and Crater Lake, Oregon to the north. It's slowly creeping. The zone is slowly expanding from the center point where it made contact with the Earth. The laws that we recognize that relegate our physics are strained, broken, or always in flux due to this contact within the zone. The flora, the fauna, the elements, and even the weather are in a state of chaos that ebbs and flows without rational understanding. The women and the men who have entered the zone and come back out are forever changed, some even altered in subtle or dramatic fashion. A few find it difficult to leave the zone for any length of time, where others can't leave it at all. There's some of those have become guides, seekers, explorers of the zone, and they're called rangers. Player characters in this are rangers, and I originally called them stalkers, but I broke the familiarity. They would be people that would go into there would be rangers, scientists, researchers, thrill seekers, adventurers, treasure hunters, and for whatever other reason, those that wish to risk their lives. And that's truly what it is. It is an extremely dangerous place. Basically, to enter the zone, the chance of life or limb with instant death is a real possibility. The risk can be worth the sum. Some items of extreme value have come out of the zone in recent years. For example, a berry that was retrieved was found to cure cancer in no matter what state the person was in, 1 out of 10, whoever ate it. So they gave it to 10 cancer patients, and one of them was perfectly cured. Unfortunately, the other 9 died horribly. So they're still researching what use they can use that for. A spring was found, and the water was somewhat lighter than air, floating with a neutral buoyancy. Drinking it reduced aging in a dramatic fashion, but it created a dreadful craving for more. So those that drank from it found it difficult to leave the zone, and if they drank more, they could never drink less. So it became more of an addiction. Flocks of birds that fly in patterns that have been recorded as if they're communicating. They're flying with like mathematical codes. It's unclear who or what they're communicating with. Mundane grasses that have matured as hard as diamond-like crystals. Holding the shards close to your skin can create a sleep state, like a pure euphoria. Many have been found in these crystal fields as if they're dead, attributing being lost in a state of absolute pleasure. There's been some raw coal converted from piles of diamonds with colors that constantly change. So they just go into coal piles and they'll find diamonds, and the colors will just rotate and, as if lit from within. Fleas that when feasting provide a connection that has been named as like telepathy. So all those that are within range, if they have these fleas on them, they've gained a measure of telepathy, which has caused some of them to go insane. But it only happens when the fleas are drinking. But it also creates a state of calm and clarity, again, attributing to not that everyone died a horrible death, but sometimes they just didn't want to come out and they forgot to eat, they forgot to drink, and they just faded away. There have been incidents of plants storing solar energy like batteries, and you're able to tap them for charging or direct use. Some of them, if you touch them, they will surge and cause shocks to burns to unprotected skin. And some have been known to burn away memories. And so forth. There's more unusual things that they've pulled out. And that's the sort of thing that draws some people in, is the hope you find that one thing that makes you wealthy or provides celebrity beyond measure. So if you make it out, the idea is that you have some return to your investment. And that is the initial start. Everybody that wants to go in has to go through a process, wants to go in legally, has to go in a process of requesting it. It can take up to a year. But obviously, our young gentleman here, He just makes his way in one way or another and meets up with people.
Yeah.
So the entire zone is patrolled by the Army, and they do their very best to keep anyone from getting close to it for their own safety. And you will be detained if they see you anywhere near it. So the best way is to get your certification, as our young lady friend has, and go in through the front door. And through a series of the grapevine, our young Charlie is going to be waiting for her inside. And that's where we find ourselves right now on a Saturday afternoon. And we just have to decide where you want to start from, because you can come in at any of those angles. So you could come from the west coast at the water. You come from the Oregon to the north, as I noted earlier. Whatever direction you want to come from, just let me know where you want to start, because it's fairly pertinent.
You had said that Crescent City was recently evacuated, right? Was that the name of it?
Correct. Crescent City, California.
And has it been consumed by the zone yet? Or
No.
is it just
it's right on the cusp of it.
Okay, well, I suggest we will probably want to enter from somewhere around there. Because selfishly, that's currently where I'm residing. I'm squatting in a place in Crescent City. Since it's been recently evacuated, it's perfect. There's plenty of supplies for me to pilfer and stuff. And yeah.
Perfect.
I would suggest somewhere near there, since it's an area that I'm recently familiar with.
Works for me.
All right. Because you are familiar with the zone, but you are unfamiliar with the zone because I haven't provided you a map that has all the details, because to do so would be folly, because everything changes.
Mm-hmm.
The way that it's going to work is I'm going to give an example of how the situation would play out. Let's say a mundane character was to take the high road within the zone and climb up on a high hill or a tower or a building or a tree or something to get a look at the lay of the land. And they would do a perception check, and then I would note a number of things that they see. Let's say 13 points of interest. And then the person with Gestalt would climb, and they would instead of a perception check, they would do a Gestalt check, because they're dealing with the chaos of the zone. And if we weren't applying any of the other peripheral type of skills to add to it, we would just look at that. If you had a successful roll, then, for example, I would tell the ranger there that you see one area near the woods with a blue glow, and it seems to have ice and snow, an immediate area in that tropical or neotropical forest. And on the other end, there seemed to be a null of black over there in the field. That's the only things I would tell them, because they're able to weed out all of the mundane crap and just see the stuff that is zone reflective. So you would be like, we need to avoid those two things, or let's go see what those two things are. But you now have the choice, because you know that those are zone items. That's how the Gestalt would work. So whenever we get to a situation and a mundane would say, hey, I think I saw this, you're going to see things very differently. So just keep in mind, so you're not going to be at a loss because you don't have a map. Things are going to make sense as you go through.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. So now we need to know what the contract was. What was the deal given to Charlie regarding this young lady? Because you're not going to search for a cure for cancer. You're not going to look for the spring of effervescent life.
Right.
How far did you want to go in? Did you want to see a specific thing? Did you want to see a monster? Did you want to reach a high point for a theatrical view? Is there something specific that you wanted to do with this? Or is it just, I need to spend my 24 hours? What was your goal?
Boy, that's a great question. Definitely something spectacular to see, so that I can get it on camera and as proof that I was in there, and experience, like what a ranger does, how they do what they do. So it's like observing Charlie and just like observe a ranger at work, as well as getting some spectacular shots.
Okay. And what about this movie that you're doing?
That's
Like,
why.
have you seen the script already?
No, there's been. All I know is that there is an audition for the lead for a movie, and the lead is it's a female ranger. So I want to know what a ranger does. I want to see the zone. I want to experience the zone. And
Okay. I have an idea, John.
Okay.
What if, like, you were talking earlier about a pool of water that was said to have regenerative capabilities, basically, right? But it was also addictive, etc.
Mhm.
What if that pool of water was in a location that I happen to know of,
You do?
and it's fed by a waterfall that seems to flow up?
Hmm. Very
Now,
good.
how does the waterfall flow up and still feed the pool? I don't know, but
Because it's drawing the water from some another source.
perhaps, yeah. So, since she just wants to go in and try to get some zone experience and see a ranger at work, my thinking is that I could plot a route, well, attempted plot a route. Of course, the routes always change, but at least I know where it is. I just have to find a way to get there. So, and I don't know. You tell me if you think this is too um, presumptuous, but basically, we could get there in 3 weeks or 3 days,
Right?
and then 3 days back out, basically. So at most, if she decided to spend a day screwing around at the pool, we're in and out in a week, barring any, of course, zone issues as they can happen.
Just sent you a zone issue.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm going to deal with the young lady. Let me get the names. It's Charlie.
That's right.
And what was the young lady's name?
Ashley Taylor.
Ashley. Okay. Okay. So we're going to go to I have it marked for the spring. All right. The A to B, if you went straight through, it's one full day at a decent clip. So depending on her physical fitness level, what are your physical stats? Strength, dexterity, and endurance?
I have
Specifically endurance.
I have a 12 endurance.
Oof, very high.
Mm-hmm.
In context, a 12, if an average person is 7 to 9, a 12 is actually would be
She runs marathons, no problem.
exactly. That's somebody that could be a competitive amateur obstacle course runner.
Yeah, she's very physically fit.
Very physically. So we're going to knock it down. It might even be a touch more than. Well, what is his endurance? Before I say that, Charlie's endurance.
Oh, mine's a 10.
Okay, so he's even more fit than he is. All right, so one day. If you went A to B, it would take one day to get to the fountain and the falls, or as they like to call it, the ups.
Okay, A to B would take only a day.
Yes, but
Eventually,
you'll have to cross the noted aspect that I sent you twice, or you can go around it.
You sent me something? Hold
on. To Facebook, or you can only cross it once at the end because the falls are physically in the middle of one of the hot zones.
Okay. So that's an either or. I could go through it twice or just once at the end.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll go for the second option.
Okay, so if you're going to go through it twice, you have to go half a day around it. If you're at the north position of the map, if you're going to start making a map of it, a big circle, you're at the north, and the very north tip is A. 1/3 into the section there to the halfway point. So 1/6 of the way through is position B. That's where the falls are. And you're going to have to go to the right for half a day. So it's going to take you a day and a half if there's no other complications.
all right.
Okay.
Now, that said, you could cut down on some of it by using a vehicle and chancing being seen?
Not a chance.
Not a chance. Okay, very good.
Nope, I wouldn't take an unnecessary risk like that. And besides, she's paying me. I'm going to assume maybe I'm getting paid kind of by the day, so I want to stretch it out as well.
Very good.
And it's a better experience for her if we just drive there in a buggy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I prefer to go on foot.
Yeah, the buggy won't work once you get in the zone. But yes. Okay.
You know what I mean.
I do know what you mean. Let me get back to my sheet. All right. So your first, I'm only going to do checks if the situation changes. So if you're traveling in the mundane zones, the only thing I'm going to check for to see if you're observed. Now, currently, it would be my understanding that you would not have gone through the certification process, Charlie, or did you want to go through it and be official this time?
Well, I think since this is to do with a film, in theory, this is something that could hit the public eye. Let me see here. How would I think about that? Either we go through official channels and do it properly, which could gain me some renown as a zone guide. It could lead to a legitimate career for me.
And you have been made aware that I am bringing a camera along with to record.
Yeah. The other option would be to do it clandestinely and make sure that my name is never mentioned, etc. No, I think I'm going to do it legitimately this time.
Okay. We'd already decided that because of your mutational status that is secret, that a doctor that you know, because you've traveled with him several times, is the one that would be giving you the physical. So he wouldn't let anybody know. He would just let you. He would just let you know if there was anything. You were low in vitamins. You need minerals. You need to take this, that sort of thing. And he does, and he gives you certain things to take, whether you take them or not. It's up to you. But so you get your certification. So now I don't even need to check to see if you get seen, because if you got seen, they would let you through.
Cool.
So I'm
by seeing, you're talking about if the Army catches us.
Exactly, and they did. I just did a check, and just before you made it to the point where you could join in, you could go into it. You are stopped. They do check your papers, and they simply ask you, "Would you like us to, carry you to a certain point before you go into the zone?"
No, we'll proceed on foot.
Okay, very good. So you're on your own. Go ahead.
I just said, thanks, guys.
All right. So Charlie and Ashley, you're on your own. You finally reach the point, and it's the point.
Well, we were still in broadcast range before we headed in, because this has all been on the hush-hush, other than, the process and whatnot. But just before I head in, where it's like at the point of no return for like sending out like a tweet or something like that, I was going to send out a tweet saying that
feeling cute
Taylor
zone today. Oh, sorry.
Heading into the zone. Wish me luck, and like with a picture of like that area in the background. Set it out on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and.
You should take it with the border guards.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Big selfie. Funny.
Heading into the zone. So
you might see Charlie kind of in the background, partially obscured with his face turned away.
Okay, you
raise like the buzz,
Yes, absolutely. And it instantly, it was well known that people were going into the zone because, again, they have to get certifications a year in advance.
Right.
So everybody's ready, and it blows up, probably 15,000 hits within a few minutes.
Sweet.
But that's all you know about it because you have now stepped into the zone.
Exactly. So phone off and stuff it in my bag.
as you step into the zone, Charlie, you have the option. I don't even need a gestalt roll because this is obvious with everything else. You have two distinct environments that are facing you at this transition point.
Okay.
One is a heavy mist is creeping over this forest section, and it seems to be almost as if spider webs are stretching from tree to tree. So the leaves are all missing. There's a mist below, and there's spider webs for everything you can see, and it's darker and you have the experience to rationalize that it's cooler. And then on the other side, it's more open and bright and warm and inviting. The challenge at this point for Charlie is that he knows that the warm and inviting one is actually the toxic part of the zone. So how do you approach that with Ashley?
And I'm just thinking this whole time watching him as he observes the area, just trying to get like the facial, like as he's looking around, and I see him like squinting here, so I'm like kind of like imitating him a little bit, trying to just get the movements down. Because this is all research.
Yeah, Charlie might look over his shoulder at you, like, and kind of cock an eyebrow, like, "What the hell are you doing?" But then he'll go back to observing the zone, eyes back on the prize, and yeah. As I'm looking at this situation, I'll look at the at the cooler section with the trees and the mist, the spider web like mist. And yeah, I'm definitely leaning in that direction. I think that's the way we're going to end up going because of a couple reasons. Number one, Charlie's already sweating in all this leather gear. And so a bit of cool sounds good to him. And then also, of course, he doesn't see any reason at this point in time yet to face any undue danger. Try to keep it. We've only been in the zone for a very short period of time. I don't want to scare the little girl off yet. I know she's a little girl, but
Ashley, you look over and you see this beautiful glen.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually kind of intriguing. There's some interesting flowers and so forth in there that Charlie probably didn't even notice. There might even be a bunny out there. And then on the other side, you have this Mirkwood forest-looking place with giant spider webs that are glistening, and it looks like, yeah, exactly. And that's the direction he's walking.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Why aren't we going that way? Why are we heading into the Wicked Witch's forest?
Appearances can be very deceiving in the zone.
I see.
It's much safer this way.
Huh. Well, you're the guide. And I look longingly at the warm, inviting area as we move into Death's Forest.
Very good. Before you leave, give me a perception check from Ashley. And Charlie's not even looking that way, so he won't see it.
So, quick question. The only dice we really need are D6 for this, right?
2d6.
Excellent.
You might need more d6s if you had weapons that did that sort of thing, but you don't. So
cool. I just wanted to get rid of all the extra dice that are laying all over the place here. All right.
Now, of course, before it came up, you would, when I said a typical thing that you would take into an area like this, it would include a hatchet, a machete, some sort of camp knife.
Yep.
Yeah, I have a survival knife and a hatchet.
Okay, so either have a hatchet, a machete, or both, and a survival knife. That's to be expected, just to make shelters and so forth, if nothing else.
I didn't realize
machete's a good idea. I had a machete too.
Right. I just have a machete. Well, I would have looked at like recommended gear and would have got as much of it as I could. So yeah,
absolutely.
Knife, machete. I'm sure some official was like, "Well, let's see what you got." Okay, this looks good, kind of thing.
Okay, since there's no weather to deal with, there's no sense of urgency. You just give a routine roll.
Okay.
So I need an 8 or better, and you get to add whatever bonuses you have for your perception.
And that would be a 10.
Okay. The bunny that you saw, it does look odd. The neck's a little too long. The point of interest is that it has locked eyes with you.
Okay.
It's actually watching you. And it might be bigger than a bunny now that you think about it.
Kind of give it like an easy like eyebrow raise thing and keep following Charlie. Just watch it until it goes out of sight.
Oh, it doesn't move.
Well, that's creepy. Make sure I get a picture of it with the GoPro.
Ah, very good. All right. When you zoom in, it actually looks something closer to a long neck panther with long ears.
Holy crap. You see that weird bunny thing? And I point at it.
I'll look over for it.
You see nothing except the field.
What are you talking about?
There's a rabbit over there. A cat that looks like a rabbit or something. And I look back.
No, there's not.
About this time, you hear a noise from that general area.
Do I hear it too?
Oh yeah.
All right, let's move quickly. Come on.
Oh shit! All right.
Low. So I kind of try to get her to get low and move along rapidly. Now, do I know? I guess I don't want to just run right into some weird, unexpected zone phenomena. So I guess kind of along the way now, especially since we're starting to move a little bit more rapidly, I'm taking these bolts or nuts out of my my pocket. These big, large, like lug nuts with the bits of white cloth. It's probably not so white anymore. It's probably pretty dirty and tattered, tied to it. And I'm whipping them up ahead of us, kind of sidearm throw so that it doesn't go too high, and then kind of going in that direction, and then scoop up the nut as we get to it and throw it again. Probably looks a little strange.
What's that for?
It's to detect other. Just keep quiet. Just follow me.
All right. Keep the camera going.
Explain later.
Okay, you're coming to the transition point where you're getting near the heavier mist, and it's like one of those optical or not optical effects, but those special effects where it's a super cold mist or a fog, and it's kind of creeping over, and it's like being held down by the temperature. And as you approach it, it's actually kind of thick. The trees are darkened. There doesn't seem to be any leaf or detritus at all. There's nothing in the area except for the trees, these spider webby type shapes going from limb to limb, and then the heavy fog.
Right. Now, am I familiar with this phenomena, or is this something strange and different to me too?
It is something that you perceive as a fairly normal sort of weirdness. Again, it's your gestalt. What you consider weird, no, it's completely normal to you.
I mean, I would still cautiously kind of hurl the.
Always cautiously. As you hurl the nut forward, it seems to penetrate as if it was a super thin sheet of ice, and it shatters and little bits of shards fall. And as it goes into it, it hits the fog thick, almost like a transient fluid, candy? Like a fluid. No, it kind of goes through it and it leaves a trail, and it's gone.
Interesting. And it's just gone?
Yeah, it's in the mist. You can't see it anymore.
Oh, okay. It just fades from view.
And
it doesn't like disintegrate or.
No, it's a foot. It's a foot to 18 inches high. This rolling fog. And as you approach, the temperature drop. You haven't gotten there yet, but the temperature dropped 15 degrees.
Oof.
15 degrees Celsius or Fahrenheit?
Fahrenheit, always.
Okay, so what Fahrenheit did it go from to which? Because that makes a big difference. What was the temperature when we first started?
Roughly 80.
Okay, so that's down to 65. Oh, that's cool.
Right.
And do we hear any more sounds?
Yep.
Does it sound like it's getting closer, further away? No difference?
It sounds like it's exactly the same distance that it was.
Okay. So, let's get into the forest then.
All right, here we go.
I'm moving forward to try to find my bolt that disappeared.
Make sure he doesn't get too far away from me.
Fair enough. Let's go ahead and do...
Sorry, it's not a bolt. It's a nut.
Let's do a perception check to see if you can locate it.
Okay, so again, I'm sorry, is that focus?
That is a 2d8. Or
2d6. Yep.
Plus any bonuses you get for intelligence, education, or focus.
Or all three?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Right, so it's just mental. So I get a 10.
Okay. You definitely find your nut. It's exactly where you kept your eye on it. You
check the condition of it.
There's nothing wrong with it whatsoever.
Good.
It has dropped another 10 degrees.
And what does it feel like when we go into this mist ourselves?
So now it's about 55 degrees Fahrenheit. The actual air of the mist is probably another 5-6 degrees cooler. The air above it is a little bit warmer. And let's go ahead and do a perception check.
Cool. I'll pull this little like scarf like shawl kind of thing that I have around my neck up over my head a bit, like a hood.
Very good.
Another perception check, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
That's an 11 for me.
Hold on, I lost it.
That's enough. You have the advantage of seeing it before it sees you.
That sounds good.
It's definitely the size of a panther or a cougar. The neck is longer, more like a deer. And it ends into a head that has canines. It has a maw of sorts. And it has definitely large ears. And they are scanning for sure. But it hasn't seen you.
And it's kind of gesturing her to not move and it lower us down, try to crouch down.
Yeah, it's maybe 50 yards away in the green zone still.
All right. I just hold my fingers up to my lips. Shh.
Just nod vigorously.
Actually, I don't make the shushing sound. I just hold my fingers up. Yeah.
Can I see it? I rolled a 9. Do I see it?
Yes. Especially since he pointed it out.
Oh, yeah, okay. Get the camera out.
You needed an 8 or better.
Is this a creature that I have encountered in the zone before? Would my zone-wise tell me anything about it, perhaps? Or my zone lore?
You tell me the skill you'd like to apply to it. Zone-wise is more of your living.
Right. I think zone lore would be the one.
Zone lore would be the correct one.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to say probably not. That's a 7.
No. Now, you have any... What is your lore?
That's with the +1. I rolled 6. So.
Oh, I see. Okay. It's definitely something that you may have seen at a distance, but you have no particular familiarity with.
Okay.
Now, your zone-wise would have told you whether you thought it was friendly or not. That's more of the direction that.
Can I roll that as well then?
Sure.
Since I'm just at the moment not moving, just observing it.
You succeeded. It does not look friendly.
I rolled an 8. Okay. It doesn't look friendly. Okay. For the moment, not moving, especially now that I see it, because I didn't see it before. I'm afraid that if we move, we'll attract his attention. So at the moment, I'm going to just try to sit here and watch it and hope it fucks off. Please fuck off. I'm imagining in my head.
It stays in position and it cranks its head up and the neck seems to extend another foot or so. And it cranes its neck up and it slowly moves its ears side to side, but its head doesn't move at all. It's in a very stoic position as its ears.
So its ears are doing like a little kind of radar dish type thing or whatever?
Yeah, they're doing a scanny sort of thing. Like they're going in different directions and twitching and moving around. And now that you get a good look at them, they don't look so rabbity. They look more like bat ears.
Keep filming.
I'm trying to slow my breathing and heart rate down as much as I possibly can.
Okay.
Oh, and you're filming. I don't even think about that. So, yeah.
There's a caw of some sort of bird in the distance. At this tense moment, the animal catches that momentary bit of sound, and in a blink, a little bit of dust gone. You don't see it. So it's either ducked down into the grasses, or it was quick enough that you just didn't see where it went.
Okay, I'm going to sit here, and I'm going to start counting to 100 in my head, not out loud.
I turn the camera onto him.
Very good.
I'm just sitting there motionless, basically.
Mm-hmm. Just trying to capture the look.
1,000, okay. 2 1,000.
As we do this in character concept, be thinking of the various skills that you've got, more so the ranger, that you can apply to this. Your Your zone wise is going to let you know which is the better path. Do I take the up or the down? Do we go the rocks? Do we go in the water? And your survival is going to be, should we eat this berry or not eat
of course.
berry? Should we take shelter now because it looks like this is going to be a bad night?
After I count to 100 in my head, I will use my zone wise to try to see if the heckles are still standing up on the back of my neck, or if I think we're in the clear now to move.
You haven't had any indication of anything except, I don't even need the roll because it's a basic thing.
Okay.
You have the sounds that you're familiar with as far as birds and crickets and so forth like that.
Okay.
And there's little bits of movement again. There's not that much compared to what Ashley might be familiar with, but what you're familiar with, there is some closer to the green zone. Not so much in the area you're in, but it's you're confident that that particular thing is no longer within range.
I'll look back at her and just kind of nod my head slowly and then stand up and start moving forward again.
Is it gone?
For now.
Wow.
When you get ready to use Gestalt's going to be used in any type of if you say, hey, I want to do a perception check, but you want to do it looking for something
Unusual.
Yes,
right.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you're going to say, hey, I'm gonna look for hidden or magical portals or something like that. Think about it more something like that.
Okay, gotcha. So I could have used that earlier when I was checking out the mist or something, for example, but
exactly.
Right.
So the situation is that you have four key elements in the zone the section you're in right now. And that is that it is quite cold. It's in the 50s. The mist is colder, but it's heavy. It's settling. There doesn't seem to be anything really alive, certainly nothing green. The trees are barren.
Something must be alive because I hear birds and insects.
Exactly. And then you have this thin spider webby sort of material that's strung between the trees. And it is fairly invasive. It's not
well, let me attempt
avoidable.
maybe a Gestalt roll to see if I think this misty stuff is any kind of a threat to us. Can I do that?
Absolutely, yeah. You're in it. You're under no stress, so it's an 8 or better, plus whatever your Gestalt value is.
13.
If you ever double the number that you need, it is a critical success. So I called
16 would have been a critical success. Gotcha.
16 would be a critical success.
Okay. Nope. I got a 13 anyway.
13 is more than enough. It is more than enough to note that there's nothing special other than what I told you about the fog in the immediate area you're in.
Good. Okay.
But you did catch with your Gestalt vision, senses, however you want to apply it, that these spider webs, as they look, caught a bit of a shimmer when you weren't looking at them. If you look at them directly,
out of the corner of my eye, there's a bit of a shimmer, you say?
Yep, a bit of color, a bit of bluish purple, and then it's gone when you look at it.
Okay. Chalk that up as some zone strangeness and make a mental, and I'll say to her too, if you get close to any of those spider webs, don't touch them.
Got it. Don't touch the spider webs. Shiver a little bit. I'm going to hook the camera to my front of my coat and zip up and put my gloves on.
You're going to have to pass through this dark forest as it is, and you figure it's going to take you mechanically 5 checks to get through it if you're going to go straight through.
Okay.
Or you could do 10 checks and go around it and cradle the edge of the green. So either go through it or you go around it.
Green, I thought that thing was dead.
The green field that was toxic.
Oh, gotcha. No, I think we're going to go through it. I know I like to take my time with these things since I'm getting paid by the day or whatever. But in this case, I think I want to get through this forest, go straight through it. Plus, it should make it rather scenic for her.
Indeed. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to allow for a Gestalt roll from Charlie and a perception roll from Ashley.
Okay.
What's my target number?
8 or better.
Wow.
I got a critical success, 16.
I rolled an 11.
All right, that's both good. So what we're going to do is we're going to skip the second one and get you right into the third one. You blew right past it.
Okay.
So do another check, please.
Say me too?
Yep, both of you.
Same
right.
thing. Okay. This time is a 14.
I have an 8.
8 is what you needed. You get through the next check. You're at your fourth one. The end of the forest is coming up, and you can see a difference in the light ahead. One more check from the both of you.
All right.
What kind of a difference do I see in the light ahead?
You can see enough of a difference that there's a difference.
It's another 16.
I rolled an 8.
All right, so you bypass the final one. You're out of the forest before you even know it, without any issues whatsoever.
Wow. This place is crazy.
Now,
Is there any chance I might have
go ahead.
seen? I would have been keeping an eye out for any mushrooms too while we were going through that forest.
that would
I
be
should have probably said that beforehand.
no. That's fine. That's a given. I was, if you had gone through at a normal pace, I would retcon it and say yes.
Okay.
Let's do checks for
Because
it.
we rushed through it. Yeah. Fair enough.
Not that you rushed on purpose, but you found quick ways through.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep. No problem.
You purposely avoided the
Yeah,
web.
so she says, wow, this was amazing. And I just kind of have a disappointed sigh. She doesn't know why, but yeah.
So would Charlie be the type that would, once he gets through a trap, that he would set it off to see it go off, or would he leave it?
Actually, hold that thought. I got to check on something. I've got a weird sound. 1 second.
Uh-oh.
The zone.
It's pretty interesting so far. I'm liking the way the system works so far.
Trying to keep it intuitive. Now, let's say you were being chased.
Okay.
Then your perception would have been a 10.
Right. Yeah.
And you just ramp it up if there's any complications. Now, if there was, if you were going slow and you're making your way and you really didn't need perception checks, it's just a regular forest, then I wouldn't need anything. You just go through it. You get to where you're going.
That makes sense. But with the spider webs here, and we got to make sure we're going carefully and not touching them.
Yeah, they're big, big, and they look like spider webs, but they also look like spider webs from like a science fiction movie, not like regular spider webs.
Right. So as far as I'm concerned, it was that big spider thing from Lord of the Rings. Made this place.
Sure.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I had a crazy sound going on, and I couldn't figure out what it was. It turned out the cat was locked in the kitchen somehow. And apparently she really had to pee.
Aw.
Oh, poor baby.
She ran straight for the box. Okay, sorry. So now you were saying about if I noticed a trap, am I the kind of person who would let it go off?
Would you set the trap off after you stepped over it, or are you the type that would leave it?
I think normally, well, it would depend on the circumstance. Like if I felt like I was being stalked by some kind of a crazy long-necked panther thing, I might leave it because I don't want to draw any more attention than I have to.
Right.
If I felt like relatively safe otherwise, I would probably set it off to avoid the possibility of accidentally triggering it later or somebody else triggering it later. That is if it's a one and done kind of trap.
I was going to do an idea check.
The other thing is that though I am giving a tour for this girl who wants to learn as much about the zone as she can in a couple of quick days. So I might be tempted to set one off just so she could see it after the fact, not obviously without any risk,
right,
if possible. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
How about we do a, you don't know the area. How about we do, you just know. I'm going to tell you, you know that the spider web material it has stored potential of some sort. This is the sort of thing that you're used to seeing, like explosive berries or the battery charged vines or whatever. You know that it's got
like
something.
line under tension. Yeah,
you don't know what it's going to do, but you know that it would do something if you had broken any of the strands. How much of it would happen, whether it would cascade, you have no idea. But that's the idea that I was going to present to you as an idea roll, but I wanted to match your personality.
I think that in that case, now that we're out of the woods, I turn back to look, at some of the spider web strands. I would take out one of the nuts from my pocket that doesn't have a piece of cloth tied to it already. It's one of the spares, and I would try to throw it at the spider web.
Would you warn me first, or
no? I would probably tap your shoulder and point at the spider web, and then I would just whip it.
I'll put the camera on the forest.
It's a routine throw. You don't have melee unarmed, right? You have projectile thrown.
No, I don't.
It's okay.
I got Jack of all trades of 2 though, so I get to.
So you're going to do a routine check of 8 at -1.
Okay. Is that after the Jack of trades?
Yep.
Do any of my skills or stats factor in or no?
Do you have a dex bonus?
No. Fair enough. No, I rolled a 5.
Okay. You missed it, but there are plenty of sticks and branches and so forth. So we're going to assume you'll throw something until it hits. When you hit the item, when you hit the strands, it bursts into a prism of light. Light just starts shooting at chromatic, sort of a spray shoots out everywhere, and it makes absolutely no sound whatsoever. It looks like it's making sound. It should make a sound, but it makes no sound.
How long does it go on for?
It cascades. The pieces immediately there shatter into a fine glittering dust as it settles down. But these purple bursts of energy go through the entire forest in a cascading like a ripple.
Okay, so as I'm filming this, I'm going to say, so my guide just broke one of the strands in that weird spider forest we were just in, and this explosion of light is what happened afterwards, and it's not making a sound. Well, you can hear it. You don't hear anything, just me. This is amazing.
And then it settles down. You get the return ripple. It comes back slower and slower and slower and fades to nothing, and then it's dark again.
Are the webs still there, or
the web that it hit is it's gone? It's just a pocket there. It's just a little bit of still floating shimmer, and on the fog underneath it, you can still see the shimmering bits floating on the fog.
That was incredible.
Okay,
that one was new to me.
The immediate area that you're in now.
Education never ends in the zone.
Right?
Education never ends. Commit that to memory.
The air is open. You seem to have no problems breathing. There's none of the weirdness that you anticipate, like when you shifted from one to another. There's no loss of gravity or anything like that. But what you do have is a prickling on the back of your neck, and it's not from like something bothering you, like like an uneasy sensation. You're getting a prickling like nettles, like you touch nettles. But other than that, it seems to be a clear path to.
Excuse me.
It seems a clear 100, 120 yards to the next section, and you can definitely see the next section of the zone because the vegetation up ahead is red. It transfers from a green to a red.
All right. Pull out a cloth-strewn nut. Throw it on ahead.
Ashley, are you wearing gloves?
Yes, I put gloves on while I was in the fort when I got cold.
What's the status of your headgear?
I just have a ball cap.
So your face is exposed?
Yes.
You get the sensation of sharp stinging nettles, almost like a second-degree sunburn.
On my face?
On your face and your ears, any exposed areas. And the same thing with Charlie now. He had less exposed because he had that netting over him. But right. You're getting a stinging nettling sensation.
Charlie, what is that? My face is like it's like the prickly cold thing you get. Is it dangerous?
It's the same I'm feeling.
Absolutely.
I don't know. How do you feel?
Well, like something's pricking my face.
I hold a hand up to her forehead. Does she feel
As,
feverish?
as you
I
as you
actually pull
do,
off my glove actually to do so.
as you pull off your glove, you notice movement. Tiny little movements go onto your hand, and you start feeling a stinging on the exposed flesh.
Oh, I slip the glove back on, and I pull my scarf up over my head as much as possible. Does she have anything like a scarf or anything at all? No.
I didn't write it down on my gear.
Sure.
No.
Yes.
Wrap your face quickly. Come on, move.
Right.
And I start moving towards the direction of the nut I just threw.
Hook the camera up to my chest and yank my scarf out of my pocket and start wrapping it around my face.
In the process of getting these tiny little insects off of you, because you're going to need to get them out of the glove and out of your face and off your neck.
Oh, there's insects.
Tiny little like no-see-ums that are just stinging the shit out of you in mass.
That I didn't know. Okay, gotcha.
One, let's do a mental stability check because it is freaking you out at the moment.
I'm looking for like a body of water if there's anything around.
There's nothing in the immediate area, but so for your stability check, because it's the first time we're going to do it, you get bonuses to your focus. So if you have a focus when you do your stability check.
I do not have a bonus on focus. So what do I roll? Just 2d6?
2d6?
I rolled 5.
I've got an 8.
All right. So Charlie passed. Ashley failed. Ashley, you only take 1. So you will remove 1 mental health from intelligence, focus, or education. Now, you have what are your scores in those 3? Starting with intelligence, then education, and focus.
Intelligence is 10, education 7, focus is 9.
Okay. You don't want to remove it from the 7 because it puts you in the negatives.
Mm-hmm.
You start having anything skill related, you have -1.
I'll take it from focus because that would just be very distracting.
Okay. And it brings your focus down to
8. So I should leave my main stat there, just like write it off to the other side, what it's moved down to?
Right. You just put a little tick on it to note it.
Okay, cool. Excellent. I have done so.
Okay, and you get them off, and clearly you walked into a small micro cloud of these little buggers, and these are very fairly common, just not particularly in this area.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Oh, those things are gross.
Yeah, usually in marshes and stuff like that.
We get them here in Chicago.
As you approach
suburbs.
As you approach with speed to the red forest, as it were, the red grasslands, the high grasses. If you want any rolls, let me know. Otherwise, you're going to run right into it and then take your tests while you're there.
Well, I've been kind of whipping that nut up ahead as far as I can throw it and then run up to it. But I like to do a Gestalt check as I approach the change in environment to see if I pick up on any danger.
Absolutely.
That would be a 16.
While we're doing that, I'm narrating. It's like, so we just got covered in these crazy little insect things that are just biting like hell. God, that hurts. I bet you someone in LA would pay to have that happen to them.
Right. As you approach that area with that critical success, you note a patch of mushrooms. They're not blue, as you would have liked them to be. They are, in fact, bright white. And they're easy to see once you see them against the red, but they are somewhat camouflaged, if not. So she doesn't even see them when you point to them, if you do point to them.
Right. Well, I don't yet. We're still covered in insects anyway, right?
You've gotten the ones off of your skin, and while they're on you, they can't penetrate the cloth.
Okay. Then in that case, I'll move over towards those mushrooms.
Yes.
Is there any kind of a check I can do on the mushrooms to see if they are,
that would be your zone knowledge, your zone lore.
Zone lore.
Or did you have anything foraging related?
Survival.
Survival or zone lore, whichever one you have is higher. Or
It'd be a 12.
okay. You could have taken an extra turn to sit down and just use them both and then got an advantage. But you have enough. They definitely look familiar. They're definitely edible.
Good. I'll pick them and I'll put them in my extra empty pouch on my little multi-pouched fanny pack like thing.
It's more of a taste thing. They taste different than the other ones, which is always welcome because you just eat the one thing.
I don't taste them, not in front of her.
Right. What I'm saying is that when you've eaten them, you've liked them.
Right, I gotcha.
They only have half value compared to the blue, but there's a plentiful match of them, and they dry nicely.
Good. I'm filling up that pouch as much as I can anyway.
All right, we're gonna say.
While he's doing that, so what are those? What are those for?
Well, I don't know. They can use them for medical research, things of that sort.
Right. They get all kinds of.
You just never know.
Okay.
10 portions.
I could get them out to the. I could take them out of the zone, and they could just turn to dust right away. Who knows? You just never know with this stuff.
Fascinating.
Or I could take them out to the edge of the zone, and they could grow in size rapidly.
Huh.
Okay, you collect the mushrooms. There's no weird sounds. There's no weird movements or something like that. The vegetation is high grasses. And when I say high, they're reaching in the 4-foot range. And then it leads to a few sparse trees.
Ooh,
and then up ahead is the small foothills that lead to the elevated section that is the fountain, the raising fountain.
So it's like chest high.
Right. So there's probably like 6 or 7 sparsely spread out trees en route. And then high grasses.
Okay. I want to definitely be very leery approaching this grass. Because the thing that disturbs me most about the grass is you can't necessarily see what's under it, what's in it.
Mm.
As you carefully approach the grasses have a sharp sawtooth edge along the entire edge of them.
Oh, that's not good.
But you've dealt with this before. You take out your machete and you lay it sideways instead of hacking them, and you lay it down and then you step on them, and then you lay it down and you step on them. So it's slow going. So it's going to take you twice the movement if you want to do that. Or you can just try to do high stepping and or you can just walk through them.
No, I'll take the nice slow route, and I'll explain to her what I'm doing. And as an example, I guess I will. Let's see here. No, it's too valuable. I'm just looking to see what I might have in my.
They're sharp enough to cut the cloths of those ones that are hanging off the nuts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about one of your glow sticks?
Yeah, actually, why not? I'll take one of the glow sticks, and I'll just kind of toss it into the grass like pretty forcibly, so it hits it pretty hard, just to show her what happens.
Not too much.
It doesn't cut through the glow stick?
No, it wasn't like a Vorpal blade or anything like that. They're just really.
Well, the glow sticks are what, plastic? I mean, if it cuts through cloth,
they're hard plastic.
Well, in that case, then I would. Okay, never mind then.
You wouldn't have done that.
I wouldn't have done it then if it's
rubbed it. You'd have rubbed them on the side of it, and it cuts right through them like a saw.
Yeah. Holy crap! I see why we're being careful now.
Mm-hmm. So we'll take the machete and slowly pressing our way down, moving our way through.
As we go, get some close-ups of the grass.
Oh, very, very, yeah, easily. You have plenty of grass to get from. As you approach the first tree, it has kind of a weeping willow sort of thing where it umbrellas out, and you'll notice that none of the grass grows underneath the trees. But they are very attractive.
It doesn't grow under the trees. That's interesting.
Yeah, it grows right up to the edge of the trees and goes around it.
Is there anything weird else about the trees?
Which skill would you like to apply? And just narratively express what you're doing, and we'll go from there.
The first thing I would do is kind of approach the tree. I don't want to get too close to the tree yet, but I want to get kind of close to it to see if it gives me any kind of danger vibes.
Gestalt it is.
Yeah. Wow. Boxcars +6 is 18.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, so had you used a luck, you would have gained a luck back. Since you didn't, it's fine. You're stable. Yeah.
You gain a luck back whenever you roll a natural 12.
A natural if you used it.
Okay. So what you roll to determine your luck at the start is your max luck?
Any challenge. Yeah, exactly. That's your max luck.
Okay. So then I shouldn't have. Okay, I gotcha. Well, that makes more sense. I
don't even remember how we use luck. So.
Let's say you have a roll that you definitely want to succeed.
And you spend a luck?
You spend as much luck as you want, but you can't get it back except in a case like now.
Oh, okay. And it just increases the roll by 1 for each point of luck or something?
Exactly.
Point for point. Okay, cool.
Or has an effect. It may not be point related. And we lost Ian.
Uh-oh.
So hopefully he comes back real quick. We'll wait on him.
Right. There he is.
Andy's back.
Don't click that button again.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you can apply as much of it as you want. And let's say you had used one earlier, you would have just gotten it back.
Yeah.
So I started with 7. So if I can't go above 7.
Correct. Unless something else happens. If you're in a magic campaign or you find
that's what the little bubbles underneath are for, I presume. So you can tick off as you use them.
Exactly. As you mark them off.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's just say that I'm sure there's somewhere in the zone that if you were to eat this one particular berry, it may max out your luck.
Okay.
Or it may reduce your dexterity to 2. It could happen.
It might turn your eyes into feelers.
Sure, something like that. So you had a critical success, and what you get for rolling the 12 is that your next challenge, whatever it is, you roll with advantage. So you roll 3d6, and you would choose the 2 highest.
Interesting. That's cool. And if he had to expand on that, and if he had spent a luck, he'd get a point of luck back, and then still have that thing with the next challenge. He'd get advantage.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Okay, so it's all cumulative. Got it.
And he's got the critical success, so it's a cascading series of events that happen.
Mm-hmm.
And in regards to skills, let me come back to it. If you fail at a skill when the session is over, any skills that you have that you failed at, you can pick one of them and do a check. And then if you make the check, then it improves by 1.
Oh, okay, cool.
Just 1 though.
Right.
So if you use 5 skills and you failed at all of them, you would pick one of them and you do an 8 or better, and you would improve it if you succeeded.
But that does not apply to perception. Like those bonuses, of course.
No, not your stat.
It's based on your stats. Never mind.
These are skill challenges.
Gotcha. Right.
Skill related challenges. Okay, so with your critical success, you definitely are familiar with this type of tree, if not this specific one, and it's something of a vampire tree, but it's clearly it's a vegetal vampire. It kills other things underneath it to protect its roots.
Interesting.
So no other plant life is allowed to be underneath it. So you'll notice it's completely barren underneath it.
But we would be safe.
And you notice that there's ants underneath, not like, oh my God, ants, but there's like colonies.
There are some ants, yeah.
And it's completely manicured. There's not one little bit of anything anywhere. The ants maintain it. It's all smooth except for where the holes could drop in. And you've seen these ants before, that they're fungus growers. So they take vegetation, they take it down deep, and they build fungus. If you had time, you could get in there and dig it up, and the fungus is noted to be delicious for those that like to eat such things.
Cool. So yeah, I'll be explaining all of this to her. about why there's no vegetation growing under there and why, but the ants are there, so animal life is fine, etc. How long have we been traveling at this point?
This was a half day to get here. This is 3/4 of the day, so it was noon. Typically, it would be getting dark about now, so you're looking at 7, 8, and twilight hasn't quite creeped in yet.
And how much longer to get to our
This is
destination?
this is the zone effect. You get that residual light reflecting off of the weird atmospheric thing. So a lot of the times the zone will have like an aurora borealis sort of effect over it at night. But you've got another 1 check before you reach the. If nothing stops,
we're almost there already.
Yeah, you're almost there.
God, way too fast.
Now,
okay, but in that case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to suggest to her I think that this would be a safe place for us to kind of set up, eat, rest, maybe get some sleep.
Okay.
And then we can get onto the fountain hopefully in the morning.
With your significant critical success, you gain one other thing.
What's that?
You notice. I should have told you this is the PM. Actually, forget I'm telling him this. You notice that there's gold dust.
Gold dust?
Gold dust amongst the where the ants are, and they're collecting it and taking it below.
Okay, and does that register anything to me, or is it something I need to roll, like a zone lore, or?
No, that's what you got for your success of your Gestalt perception.
Mm-hmm.
You caught all of that, and while you're noticing the ants, you see that they're collecting gold dust.
Okay. So what's up with the gold dust? Is it dangerous?
No, it's gold. It's gold dust.
It's literally gold?
It's gold.
Oh, I thought it was just gold-colored dust that I don't know what it is. Some kind of pollen or something? Or
No, critical success. You are familiar with... You have seen pockets of gold in unusual places throughout the zone. Gold is one of the things. What happened, one of the things that the zone does is things that were trace are now common.
In some places, right. And gold is still super valuable.
It's right today's market.
Right. So, but the ants are collecting it and taking it below.
Mm-hmm.
So my worry is that if we were to take it, the ants might turn on us.
Let's do zone wise.
Okay. That's going to be a 10.
You roll 3 dice because this is the next challenge after your critical success.
Right. Yeah. Still a 10.
10 is enough. You needed an 8. They're just ants. There's no indications that they're anything other than ants. They're small little ants. And they're apparently collecting the gold dust, the same as they're collecting little bits of vegetation, the same as they're picking up little grains of rocks. They're just manicuring the area.
Well, cool. I will pull a Ziploc bag out of my backpack and say, "Here, help me collect this gold dust."
Gold dust?
Yep.
Okay. And I will take off my backpack, lay it against the side of the tree, and like hook the camera to it so it's showing us. And start helping.
Be careful! Don't get it on your skin. It's highly corrosive.
Oh crap! Well, I got gloves on.
I'm just kidding. It's just gold. Look.
Wow. You have no way to separate it at the moment, so you're going to get near equal parts of sand and dust.
I think I won't lose any sleep over that.
I'm just letting you know. So if you have a 2-ounce baggie, you have 1 ounce in volume of assumed gold. You'd have to clean it up and wash it to find out exactly how much you get. But how long are you going to stay doing this, and how many baggies you got, that sort of thing?
That's a good question. How many baggies do I got? How many are there usually in a box? Like 25? So
are they the small ones?
I
would say 100. They'd come in like a roll, 100 of them.
Okay, yeah, I'll roll a D100 and see how many I have left. I have 2. Fuck. So I pull out the second one and I realize that the box is empty. I stick the empty box back into my pack.
How about this? How about we use a point of luck and you re-roll it?
Okay. That's a good point. Yeah, why not exercise the mechanic?
You're going to check the other side of your pack. And remember, you brought another box.
I have 33.
33 it is.
So yeah, why not? Let's gather up 33 2-ounce bags of dirt and gold.
So for your notation, by hand, you figured, 15, 16 ounces of gold.
Okay. I'm going to go with 15. We'll go with the lower end.
Up to you.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Anything else? And no, the ants aren't particularly worried about it. They just, as you
They just
disturb
move on to something else, yeah.
Yeah, as you disturb the dirt, they just go back to it and flatten it back out, pick it back up.
Okay. No, I think we should camp here for the night.
Now there are
That's 4 pounds worth of material.
in a direct line between here and where you were going, there are 3 other trees. Then there are other trees on either side of the zone region you're in.
Mm-hmm.
But they look to be identical trees.
That's fine. I know that this tree is safe because I'm under it right now. So I don't see any point in pushing my luck.
All right.
Fair enough. 8 o'clock.
I'll make that point to her that, sometimes, when you get a bit of good luck in the zone, you just got to accept it and take it and enjoy it while it lasts.
Gotcha. Noted. When you get a bit of good luck.
Like this. I, gesture at the little clearing under the tree that we're now in. And you see, if there was 33 baggies, I would give her 16 of them.
Wow.
And I'll keep 17.
All right. Wow, thank you. For the gold dirt.
So if there was 15 ounces, then that would mean I have 8 and she has 7. Basically.
All right. Pack it away and get my sleeping bag unrolled and make my evening report about talking about what we did for the day. And
8, 9 o'clock's creeping up. It actually starts to get a little dusky. It does not look like it's going to get dark. It's going to be more lit than a full moon. Again, we've got that little bit of a light show going on above you. And what it appears from where you are, Ashley, compared to what you've seen before, is that it doesn't appear to be, as the Aurora Borealis is more, or the Australia Borealis is more of a watercolor with shimmering effect where it kind of blends in.
Sure.
This seems to be more of like a spiral above you.
Wild.
And I will look for an idea check, which is an intelligence. So any bonuses you have, you can apply to that as an 8 or better.
From both of us?
No, just Ashley.
Okay, cool.
I rolled snake eyes.
Okay, so you lose a point of luck.
All right.
And you are completely oblivious to what's going on.
Sounds about right.
So Charlie sees her staring up into the sky, and she runs into some of the saw-bladed grass or whatever, staring up at the sky.
As I'm getting footage of it and trying to get out from under the tree.
Oh, she's moving towards the grass?
Well, she was looking at the sky and kind of wandered a little bit.
Can I jump up and grab her and pull her back?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I will. Hey, pay attention to what you're doing. Look. Gesture at the grass.
Oh, God, I'm so sorry.
You're going to have a hard time getting that roll if you're missing a leg.
Thank you. Wow. Holy smokes. It's just a It's pretty distracting.
Yeah, and what she was looking at was the spiral above, obviously.
Whew. I'm a little shaken from that, and I'm going to
Okay.
shift my bag a little closer to the tree.
What are your prospects for the night? It's 9 p.m. I assume you're going to do the standard camp. Do you plan on lighting a fire?
It depends on how cold it's getting.
The temperature went back to a normal temperature once you left. Now it's going to get a little cooler because it's northern California. So you're looking at 68.
Nope,
66.
no fire.
Fair enough.
No fire. No need to attract any attention.
Sounds
Fair
good.
enough.
In accordance with the instructional stuff I read, I have cold rations, so no need to heat it up. Or actually, no, it would be like the self-heating stuff.
Sure. All right, so you get plenty of food, plenty of water. You have opportunity for rest. Are we going to do anything between 9 and whatever time you decide to get up and go again?
No, I will sit up for a while until after she goes to sleep.
Before I sit down, I'm going to go and say, I'm going to go to the other side of the tree. No peeking. Dig a little hole and do my business before I go to bed.
Where are you digging the hole?
Wait, oh
Just
man.
on the other side of the tree. Just a little hole. Try not to cut the roots or anything because I'm already freaked out. So just trying to get the dirt.
Okay. The ants have stopped their routine. So
I
they,
would probably once I see her, she's digging a hole.
Because I pull a roll of toilet paper out of my bag.
Wait. You can't do that here.
What?
We're gonna sleep here.
I was going to do it on the other side of the tree.
The tree's not that big. How close is the next nearest tree?
30, 40 yards.
I should have thought about this.
Start doing the pee-pee dance.
I pull out my machete and sigh,
Sorry.
and I start working my way over towards the next tree.
Okay.
Slowly but surely.
Are you following Ashley?
Yes.
Overhead, and it's easy to see. I don't need a perception check. You have 13 bird sort of somethings flying overhead.
Mm.
I have not have my camera with me at this point because
You left it under the other tree?
I left it hooked up to the bag. I'm not going to film myself taking a crap.
Not that kind of actress, huh?
No.
Good. Okay. So do these look like just normal birds? I mean, there probably are no normal birds in the zone, but does my gestalt set me off? Do these look predatory birds, or are they like mini dragons?
That would be zone-wise would determine their properties and behaviors, and your gestalt would pick out whether they had some sort of zone connection, whether they have a radiation effect or a
I'm
friend.
just gonna go with zone-wise for now for a 10.
A 10. Yeah, they do look like a predatory type of vulture type of thing.
Okay. Tell you what, you keep an eye on those birds while I'm doing this, and you tell me if they make any threatening moves.
Okay.
With that,
this back and
with that knowledge, you see them circling around and making a general direction towards you.
they seem to be getting closer.
You have equal action. You may either go back to where you came from, or you may make it to the other tree in the same distance, or you can stand your ground, or some other choice along those lines.
They're coming right for us.
Well, that's not good. Let's get to the next tree.
Okay.
I don't see any point in changing the direction. I'll pull out my hatchet and hand it to her.
Mm-hmm.
Here, in case they get too close.
And you're going to make a run for it?
Oh, we have to run for it through this grass?
Are you staying in place?
Oh wait, I thought you said I could make it to the tree. Okay, you mean like I have to? Right. Okay. In that case, then we'll move back towards the other tree.
Are you going to go back to where you came? Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah. Because I don't want to go running through this blade grass.
okay. So the grasses that you just came from, they're all laid back down, so you take no damage from them as you run back.
Mhm.
And as you make it to the tree, they basically make it to you, but you get under the cover of the tree if you want to be under the cover of the tree.
Yeah, I do want to be under the cover of the tree. I don't know why. I guess because there's a big clearing under the tree that I can move around a little bit more freely.
And
Feels safer,
and
and the birds have to fly under the tree to get to us, kind of thing. So
they cannot, because the grasses meet the point where the tree touches it.
really,
So
okay.
you can duck under because you're on the ground.
And they can't get to us now.
When you're flying in, there's nowhere to land. So they squawk and squeal and they're upset and they circle around for a bit and then they go off in another direction.
All right, just go on the other side of the tree. I say,
Just coincidentally,
exasperated.
the direction of the hill that you were headed towards.
Right, fair enough. Just go on the other side of the tree and bury it really well. All right.
All right. Sorry. Thank you. Sorry. Go do my business.
Fair enough. I don't need to role play any of that. Fade to black.
Thank you. Curtain sway in the way. No, wait, we're not doing that.
Okay.
So then, if nothing else happens, I will wait until she falls asleep, kind of like I'm keeping watch, basically.
Okay.
And then after I'm pretty sure she's well asleep, then I'll eat some of my remaining blue mushrooms that I have.
Okay.
And
I'm about to do the pee-pee dance. I got to do a quick wee. I'm sorry.
all right. And then I'll go to sleep anyway. I'm not really going to stay up all night keeping watch. I just wanted her to feel a little bit secure to go to sleep before I go to sleep.
Sure. 6 hours is the minimum that we're looking for to gain back anything if you lost anything and to not be
Like a point of luck.
Well, no, you don't get that back.
Oh,
you would have got that back with that 12.
yeah, but I use it after that.
Yeah, it was after the fact. So to avoid any fatigue or anything like that, you need 6 hours at some point before your next stage of encumbering comes up. So if you went on a full run or something like that, and you only had 3 hours of sleep, then it would start having a negative effect. Your challenges would come at 10s rather than 8s, that sort of thing. So it is roughly 10 o'clock. So when she falls asleep, and I'm gonna check one more time. She's gonna do an endurance check to see if she can actually sleep, because it is an unusual new place.
Right. Yeah. I suppose it would be kind of what's the word? Distressing a little bit.
But it has been taxing. It's been a taxing day, so more than likely she can sleep. And let's say that the vultures had stayed above and were sitting in the tree, like above you, squawking at you the whole time and pooping on you and whatever, right? Then it would have been a 10 to try to get some sleep, that sort of thing.
Okay.
You just ramp up the difficulty. So the question is going to be is if she falls asleep, will you also fall asleep?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
After I eat my mushrooms and stuff, you know.
And it is pretty much a forest to you, just like you and I would go out into a regular forest. It's just a forest.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, it's not just a regular forest, but to you it is.
I am back.
Okay, so Ashley's going to need a standard endurance check.
Okay.
That's a routine 8 or better to be able to get sleep, and you may add any bonuses you have for endurance.
All right. I rolled a 4 with the bonus.
Okay, so you are not able to sleep, so you only get half. Let's see if you catch up on sleep on the second half.
Okay. Roll again.
Yes.
All right. I rolled a 6 that time.
No sleep for Ashley.
Oh, lovely.
She tries to sleep and she gets rest, but she does not get sleep. It is an unusual place. It's kind of freaky. And
Sure.
You could do the whole Blair Witch interview thing in the middle of the night if you wanted to.
Probably.
And it's my fault.
I'm not gonna do it. Just like,
The sobbing and the tears.
not going to get that dramatic because But I will make a little complaining vlog halfway
Right.
through.
So she nods off, and then every hour on the hour, every half hour on the half hour, she wakes up. What? And it goes back down again, and then back up again. God
Yep,
damn
it's
it!
the city sounds, and I'm not getting any of that here.
Right. Anyway,
Well, what I'll do then after a little while of that, I will try to eat my blue mushrooms in discretion,
mhm.
and I will just go to sleep anyway. I
Very
want to
good.
be well rested for the next morning as
I
much as
just
possible.
need a routine check from Charlie, also at the bonus, but he has survival, so any bonuses you have in survival would add to it.
Let's see. That'd be 9.
All right, that's enough. You get your 6 hours, no problem.
Okay.
Okay, so what's going to happen is, Ashley, any physical challenges the next day, such as running and so forth, they will be done at a 10 rather than at an 8.
Got it.
Because you will be,
Oh, your difficulty's increased, yeah.
yeah, because you're going to be nearing exhaustion.
Sure.
You're going to actually be fatigued, not
Okay.
exhausted. Exhausted would be a 12 or better.
Right. Got it.
Okay, so morning comes.
Groan.
Sleep well?
I didn't sleep at all.
Oh, it's going to be a hard day for you.
When you get up, you find out that the ants woke up before you, and they've cleared out a path all the way around you. And so they've just, everything's manicured around you. Again, the footprints are all gone. Just the spots wherever your bags and all that were are left.
So they disturbed the pile that she dug up and reburied.
It is completely flattened. That part of the ground is completely flat.
Cool.
So the morning comes. Obviously, she got no sleep. We're going to call it at an even 6 a.m.
I miss my wave machine.
Your what?
Yeah, I don't even know what's a wave machine.
It's a machine that makes simulated wave sounds for sleeping.
Oh, I got you.
Wave sounds.
Right, sounds of waves.
Have I ever been to the ocean?
No.
I don't even know what she's talking about. What are wave sounds?
It's when the water hits the beach. Wave. Whoosh.
No idea what you're talking about.
Whoosh. Like that? Really?
What's a beach?
You need to get out more. Then again, you got places like this.
Say, I'm out all the time.
I'll turn my phone on and I show some pictures.
Huh.
Okay.
Interesting.
Morning comes. You do see the buzzards again. They're out in the distance. They've left the rock and they've flown out elsewhere.
They're going to be a problem, aren't they?
They're not in your immediate area, but you did see them leave. 6 o'clock's come. What are we going to do? There are 3 trees between you and your rock.
Okay. I guess we'll move from tree to tree to tree. We've
Same-
already dug halfway to the next one, right?
Yes.
Not dug, but you know what I mean, like flattened the grass.
Yep.
Is it still flat or has it popped back up?
It is flattened still.
Good.
Oh, I will pack my stuff up, chow down a granola bar, and get ready.
Fair enough. Okay. As you approach,
I'll pull a little bit of jerky out of my pack and chew on it.
Did we determine that? Does he gain any nutrition from anything else, or is it just for taste?
We never really determined. I would assume he still gains nutrition. I think the thing with the mushrooms is they just help to suppress his illness.
Gotcha.
Without them, he starts to suffer from like cancer symptoms and stuff. You know what I mean? He starts to get real sick and.
Yeah, no, I was just curious. It wasn't recommending.
So I think he could still eat other stuff. As for nutrition, he probably even needs to for nutrition.
Gotcha.
You know, he's basically just like anybody else, except he also needs to eat these mushrooms, or else he's gonna get sick and die.
Fair enough. As you approach the first of 3 trees, the one you were headed for originally, it appears to be the same sort of tree. The weeping willow type limbs reach over to the grasses and touch it. Do you get any closer?
Yeah, I'd like to actually, like, I'm thinking to do path from tree, like right to under the tree,
You
and
get
then
to
to
the
the next
tree.
tree, and then to the next tree. Because my thinking on this is, if we get attacked by buzzards, for example, while we're out there, we can run back to the previous tree.
Gotcha. You get to the second one or the first one in line of 3, and it appears to be exact same setup. Nothing underneath, just a bunch of ants manicuring the sands
Good.
and so forth. And
Consistency in the zone. It's rare, but I enjoy it when it happens.
and there is again the particulates that they're putting away. So there is some gold dust.
I'm out of bags, so I'll make note of that though for future reference.
Absolutely. Mental note and physical notes in your little guidebook.
In fact, I'll pull a little map out. I have like a map.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll kind of look around, try to figure out where we are on this map exactly, and then I'll make a mark on the map to say, to note for myself to come back here at some point with more plastic bags.
All right. One Gestalt roll and one perception roll for Under the Umbrella.
Gestalt roll is a 13. Perception roll would be an 8.
I guess yours is a Gestalt. Ashley's is a
sorry. Yeah, 13 and
7 for perception.
okay. You see bladed grasses and this cool umbrella tree, ants, sand, and gold dust.
All right, same exact thing.
yeah. What did I see?
I am telling you.
Oh, you're messaging me?
This one has a broken branch. You see that it has a broken branch laying there. The ants aren't moving it. They're just basically piling sand up around it, trying to make it as flat as they can.
Okay. Do I have any empty bottles or vials? I don't think I do. And I've lost my equipment list since I typed it into the chat and then I accidentally left the call.
What sort of
Oh yeah, must have something for water and stuff.
I would think you'd have all kinds of little things like film canisters or
Yeah.
collection vials, because this stuff all has value, good or bad.
I'll pull out a pull out a plastic bottle, like an empty plastic water bottle.
Even trivial stuff.
Put
like a piece of bark. Go ahead.
I put put your equipment list back in the chat.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate that. I'll pull out like an empty water bottle. One of those disposable plastic ones.
Sure.
Screw the top off it and see if I can try to get some of the sap from this tree branch into it.
No, it's thick.
That's too thick, is it?
Yeah, it's thick. It's like hardened or like Elmer's glue that's set up.
Okay, so it's not runny at all.
No, not at all.
Okay, well in that case then forget the water bottle. Put the cap back on it, stick it back in my bag. And I'll take out like basically a filthy looking old towel. And I'll wrap the branch up in it.
Always travel with a towel.
Yeah, I'll wrap the branch up in it and probably put that in my backpack.
Fair
or is
enough.
it too big?
No, it's about that right size, about the size
Cool.
of a forearm.
Cool. Yep. Great.
I'm sure the ants will be very happy. They immediately start clearing that area off and smoothing it out.
Mm-hmm.
Are y'all staying here? Or are you moving on?
Moving on.
Okay, we're going to call it 7, going on 8. And you're going to make your way to the next tree, or you're going to just go for the hill?
Next tree.
Okay.
I mean, if the trees are between here and the hill, go to the trees. I'm not going to go out of the way to go to the trees, but if they are between here, like I said, I want to keep that safety path for.
In the distance, you see the vultures flying above, but they're not in your general area.
Good.
But you do hear something,
Uh-oh.
a fairly familiar sound.
Oh. That's the same sound we heard the other day, right?
Yep.
Hey, is that thing again?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Okay, how close are we to the nearest tree?
You're right up on it.
Good. Get to it.
All right,
And
give me
kinda-
your
Okay.
gestalt,
Yep,
and Ashley, give me a perception. Now, keep in mind your perception is now at a 10, not an 8.
Oh, it's for any checks.
Yep,
Mhm.
you're
Oh,
fatigued.
I rolled a 9. I almost made it.
You can push a luck if you like.
Yeah, why not?
Okay. In this case, what was your gestalt roll?
14.
14. More than enough. You see that this tree is not red. It's reddish, maybe a little more white in the bark area, like like some of the paper trees or dogwoods. They have that peeling paper kind of bark, and it reveals a white flesh underneath it. So red on the outside with the white, but it's kind of peeling. And Ashley, you note that there are no ants.
Okay. Which is
This is not good. Okay, what about the previous tree? How far away is it?
It's a full action of running back, but you have knocked down the.
Yeah, grab her arm and run back.
follow.
Okay. Your vultures are in more of your area. They're not quite on top
Machete
of you.
is out.
Okay.
Yep, ready to defend myself.
Okay. You get to where you're going. The vultures circle high above as 9 o'clock rolls around, 9 a.m. And they're just circling high above. You don't hear anything, but you're in your zone. And while you're gone, the ants had cleared out that spot, plus any footprints.
Why did we go away from that tree?
I don't think it was safe.
Gotcha.
It was different than the other trees. There was no ants underneath of it.
Right, I didn't notice them. Right. Okay.
I don't know. I mean, it might have been fine, but something tells me that it was probably unsafe for animal life.
Gotcha.
I would say that a typical payout, again, this isn't anything to deprive anybody of. I would have thought binoculars would probably be
Pretty standard. Yeah.
a pretty standard thing
Yeah, that would make sense.
for both of you. So I'm going to say take out, you have access to your binoculars, I would say.
Sure.
So again, anything that makes sense is perfectly fine.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Now, sawed-off shotguns, not really in the list, but
What about
binoculars.
Your warhead.
We're all for binoculars. No grenades.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. So we get back to that other tree without the vultures getting us?
Nope, they did not even attempt. They stayed high above. They're just circling high above.
I think they're maybe worried about that creature too.
Hazy, lazy sort of spinny thing.
You're an actress, right?
Yeah.
I remember seeing some films when I was younger on an old TV set my father had. Do you know how to fight?
Stick them with the pointy bit?
Yeah, it's the basics, I guess.
I mean, I can do stage combat, but that's all choreographed.
That's about as much as I know too, so. All right, good. Just in case. Hopefully it doesn't come to that.
Should I pull out my machete?
Yeah.
Okay. And
be quiet now.
try to fumble it off the sheath on the side of my backpack and then get frustrated and take off my backpack and unsheath it and lay it down and put the backpack back on and then pick it up.
And I just look at her wide-eyed with all the noise she's making. And I go, shh.
Sorry. And then slowly finish putting the backpack back on and stand there holding it in both hands a little nervously.
And again, I just look at her with a what the fuck look on my face, but I don't say anything. But in my head, I'm thinking, why did she put the backpack back on? Okay.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
All right.
Waiting. I'm reconning, you could say, to try to determine if that thing is getting any closer or getting farther away, etc.
Recon will actually, you'd have to change your event. Oh, you know what you can do for recon?
What?
You could use your binoculars
Yeah, exactly.
that I had mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A standard roll.
4.
A 4.
Mm-hmm. That's modified 4.
Ashley,
Yes.
binoculars.
Okay.
You're duplicating everything he does, I assume.
Yes, of course. And just a perception check.
Right. At a 10 or better, plus your bonuses.
I rolled a 6.
Ironically, I would be better at a perception check than a recon check.
Yeah, I wasn't putting recon on you. I was. You could do a perception.
It would still only have been 2 points better. It would have been a 6.
Yeah, it's just a different process. Reconning is actually going out and tracking and all this other stuff. What you were looking at was more like zone wise anyway, behaviors of animals. Through the series of sitting there for an hour, let's say, nothing hits you, nothing comes above. Your birds are still there. Binoculars scanning ineptly from here to there. You do catch sight of movement on the rock. And after you focus on it, it seems to be very similar to what you saw before, with a panther cougar shape with a long deer neck and big-eared head sitting on top of the rock. Where you were headed.
Unfortunately, I'm clueless. So
But we do see it, though.
Yep.
You see it. I don't.
I failed my roll 2. I only rolled a 6.
I gave you all another hour of sitting there trying.
I'm sorry.
And you both saw it.
Right. Okay.
That's why I was saying you were ineptly using your binoculars and you caught sight of it anyway.
Oh, okay. What's moving?
You ate up an hour.
What's moving?
One of those bunny panthers.
Right.
On the rock. Like, tap him on the shoulder.
That's kind of where we're headed?
Mm-hmm. That's the hill where the fountain is.
Okay. And so it's been an hour and it's still there. I'm guessing it's not going away.
That would be a zone-wise roll.
Nope. 6.
You could easily say that it'll be there or that it might move. Clearly, it's sitting there. It's sunning itself or scanning the area, doing something.
I think we might not get a chance to see your waterfall.
Okay. Based upon your map, the other things that are within a reasonable time period, you could leave. You could go north compared to where you are, straight out, and go back towards where you had the successes coming in from the forest, and go back towards that forest. You could go to the right on the map, which is deep into the wider section of the wild zone. You could go to the left, which tightens the circular band. And looking at his map, you realize what you didn't realize last night, Ashley, is that that the part of the zone flows into a spiral, much like last night's light show.
Oh, wow.
And if you go to the left, it tightens up a little bit. And if you go south compared to your position, which is past the rock rather than going to the rock, you get into an open zone. But then you're heading more towards the center of
No, but don't go anywhere close to that rock.
So go back the way you came in some measure. Go deep into the wider part of the wild, or go to the
So
left.
the left it gets tighter, yeah.
Right.
Let's do that.
All right. In that area, there are 3 points of interest. Directly ahead in the quote safe zone is a great tree. Just to the south of that, in the wild zone, but in the tight spot of it, you have a note from somebody else that had gone through there that there's some sort of tar pit. Okay. And the other thing of note is that the same distance that you traveled to the right to avoid the hot zone that took you half a day, you could get that same distance on the other side if you cut straight across. And you have to go through the hot zone. So you leave a hot zone, open zone, hot zone, and you'd be back out again.
From where we are now?
Yep.
And what site would that bring us by doing that? Either of the ones that you mentioned?
No
sites. That's just to get out.
Yeah, that's to get out. Your option is to get out, go back through. To avoid the rock.
How long should it take us to get to the tar pit?
Tar pit would be if you go along the open zone and then cut back into the hot zone, you're looking at 6 hours.
What time of day is it right now?
10 o'clock, 10 a.m.
Let's do it. I'm going for the tar pit.
Tar pit it is. Okay. So you leave your tree. There is another tree that was not in the straight line that you'll reach before you get to the open zone. You want to go for that tree, or are you going to go for the...
Might as well, yeah. I'm curious to see if this tree is like the current tree, or if it was like the other tree with the white and red
peeling bark,
yeah.
As you approach, you find that the tree is very similar to the one you just left. There are ants. It is bright red.
More gold dust.
Yeah, more gold dust. And the vultures do approach, but they pass off as soon as you go into the tree again.
Okay. If there's any lower hanging branch, right, I'll kind of like... maybe this is a bad idea. No, I'll try it. I'm going to try to hack off a branch with my machete. Or my hatchet. Hatchet would make more sense. Yeah, for hacking a branch. Pull out my hatchet, and cut away at it.
Okay. Is it to make a mark, or is you intend to cut through?
No, I want to cut through.
Okay.
I want to see if there's more of that sap inside.
There is free-flowing sap at this point.
Oh, free-flowing. Cool. Water bottle.
Yes.
Cap off. Try to pour some of that sap in there and see how it reacts with the plastic bottle.
It doesn't react at all. Just it fills very slowly, like cold maple syrup.
What's the sap for?
I don't know.
You look at the sap, and it has a golden hue to it, kind of like deep amber honey.
I'm not entirely sure. Like the mushrooms.
Right. Okay, gotcha.
I noticed it on the branch at the previous tree. Remember the dead branch we found?
Right, the one you wrapped up.
Right. Yeah, that's right. It's in my backpack. I forgot. Yeah, I wanted to see what it would look like from a live sample.
Okay.
Also, this branch still has some leaves and stuff on it, right? It might be useful for shooing away those vultures if they get too close.
Right.
Maybe not. All right, John's got us on hold a second.
Sorry, I got visited by the baby. I had to take a minute.
Cool, no worries.
She can't remember doing the trying to bite me.
No worries.
Okay, so you got your sap. It is 10 going on 11. I will take a perception roll from both of you because you're not focusing. You're not doing your gestalt, so just a standard perception roll.
Nope.
11.
An 11. You note that from the moment that you cut the limb, that the ants stopped moving.
Oh, they stopped moving, huh?
Yep.
I look down at them. Do they look dead?
Nope.
They're just not moving.
They're no longer doing what they were doing.
That's interesting. What if I drip some sap on them?
You could have dripped some sap on them. Okay.
Yeah, from the branch.
As you drip the sap on them, focused on that, what was Ashley's roll?
I failed. I rolled a 6 or a 7.
Okay, well, you're thoroughly enthused with what he's doing because he's basically pouring liquid gold on ants. And when it hits, it flows near them. And then the ones that are on the actual spot right there, they react to it and start rolling it up in the sand and then dealing with it. And you have an uneasy feeling, but it's interesting. You know, you're burning ants with the sunglass sort of thing.
I'm not burning ants. I'm just pouring liquid.
What I'm saying is you're focused.
Yeah, okay.
You're
I mean, it's not like I'm torturing them to death or something.
No. You're just intently focused on what you're doing.
Yeah, okay.
So, how long do you do this, and do you do anything else?
Not for long. I just wanted to see because I was curious as to how they'd stopped moving after I cut the tree branch. But okay, let's move on.
All right.
You have a sick feeling in your stomach, a bit of an instantaneous migraine, a headache, and I will need a mental health check from both of you. And Ashley's is at a 10.
Just modified by focus, right?
Yep.
So a 12.
I failed. I rolled a 6.
Okay. Ashley, you take 2 points of mental health.
Oh, crap.
And what color is your hair? Is it blonde like the picture?
Yeah, she looks like the picture.
Your perception, I don't know how much your hair is exposed. Whatever hair is exposed, whatever skin is exposed, what Charlie sees is that this 26-year-old girl now looks 32, 34, and there's kind of a moaning coming from the tree, and you can see the bark peeling off from around the edge of the tree.
Whoa.
So by points of mental health, you mean I reduce like 2 of my mental stats, or 2 points from my mental stats?
Exactly.
Got it. Okay. Well, there goes my intelligence bonus.
That's how the system works.
Yep.
Charlie, you instantaneously check out your hand that you can see, and definitely there are wrinkles appearing.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, crap.
Mechanically, looking at the two of you and making a quick assumption based on not being stupid, you've both aged 13 years.
Oh, shit. Well, there goes my career.
There's almost a wailing. You can hear it in your head as the bark peels off the tree.
What's going on?
The ants scatter.
I don't know, but we better get the hell away from this tree. Move.
Follow them.
Okay. Your options are in the open. It's an open grasslands, very much like you saw before. That was around
more of that razor grass. Yeah.
No. You've left the red. You've left the red razor grass. You're back into the green fields that look wonderful, but were of a toxic nature from what you saw before compared to what they had. Mm-hmm. So you're familiar with these flowers. They have a high level of acid a bit about them, so you don't want to touch them with your open flesh. And the insects that eat these, they're also acidic, so you don't want to mess with them. So it's basically an acid zone that you're in, but it looks pretty.
Mhm.
And you can either cut straight across this and go towards the next hot zone to get out. You can go to the left and go towards the great tree, which you can see in the distance, or you can cut back down into the red grasslands after a bit and go towards the tar pit.
Go for the tar pit. I'm still trying to complete the job. I'm
Tar
not
pit
gonna tell her how old she looks.
Okay. Oh, I know you're at a bit of a time crunch, so we're gonna do 5 checks.
Okay.
All right.
So I'm gonna tell you what happens afterwards. So hold on. Let me just note this. Okay, Charlie, give me your 5 first.
Okay. What am I modifying?
This
Nice.
is your Gestalt, so it's your 8.
So first one is a 17.
Okay.
I'm gonna fail all.
17 bypasses the second one, so go to the third one.
Okay. Also Gestalt.
Yes.
So that's a 13.
Okay. Your fourth one.
Will be a 15.
Okay. Last one.
Last one will be a 12.
Okay. Ashley, give it to me. Keep in mind you're at a 10.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna fail all of these because I have no bonuses left.
Okay.
So first one, 3.
Oh,
Second, 11.
oh, okay.
Third, 9.
Okay.
Fourth, 4. And the last one, 11.
Well,
Okay.
you see, you only failed 3 out of the 5.
Yep.
Yep. Only 3 of the 5. And he got you through that one. So the one that you passed, the first 11, he already ran you through that. So you didn't need that one. And the last one, so he didn't fail any. So you're good. You're just being drug along,
Sure.
oblivious to whatever it is. You get there without any specific notice. In fact, the check was if you got 3 successes, the vultures would avoid you. And you got 5 successes. So
Cool.
You're good. So you're good. The
Okay.
vultures passed by, they went in another direction, and you cut through the short. You can actually see the tar pits because the red grasses don't grow around that area. So they get shorter and shorter and shorter until there's just a yellowish orange ground. And then it gets right into the tar pits. It's just basically a small pond of black, just bubbling black tar pit.
Take footage.
Okay, you get your footage. Nothing particularly spectacular about footage side of it. You're taking a view of it. It
Yep.
stinks. It's
What
kind of
happened?
stinky.
Throw something in it. I ask.
What are you throwing in it?
Like a rock. Can I throw a rock in there?
I'm still holding this live. Well, now not so live, but the sapling from, or whatever, not sapling, but you know what I mean, the branch from the tree, you know?
Right.
So I'll toss that in.
Okay. When it hits the tar pond, it just sets right on top. It doesn't break the surface tension.
Huh.
I just look at her and shrug.
That was anticlimactic.
That's the zone.
And then it starts to very slowly sink into it because you'll notice there's nothing on the surface of the tar, not even dirt, and it slowly creeps in and it starts to disappear.
Oh, look.
Oh.
Okay, so
Just by that.
you can go further into the zone and we can take into another session, or you can try to make it out.
No, I think after having done this, I think it's probably time to start making our way out.
You can go straight across to the west, which is going to take you into that same open acid floral area. Then it's going to take you into another hot zone, and then you'll be out to the west, or you can go northwest and actually pass by the great tree and on your way out.
Oh, right. God, we got to go by the great tree then. Why not? Come on. Northwest it is.
Lead the way, Chief.
Okay. This great tree, you have seen it in the distance. You haven't approached it. You spent most of your time in the south. You know that the great tree has reputation for gathering big animals. Big doesn't necessarily mean vicious, but the big macrofauna tends to head over that general direction. And I will take a zone-wise while you approach.
Oh no, that's a 4. If I spend a luck, can I re-roll or?
Sure.
Let's spend a point of luck. It's a 7.
Okay, you think it's a really good idea. That probably there won't be any big animals there this time of the day.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
As you approach, based on those rolls, you don't even bother using your binoculars to check ahead.
Mm-hmm.
You get to, and it's just an enormous tree. It's just huge.
Yeah, definitely get some pictures of that. Now that's spectacular.
And it's just monstrous. And there are at least a dozen huge elephant sort of creatures around the base of it. And they're big, like 3 times the size of an elephant.
Is there anything else around to like give them a sense of scale?
A giant tree.
Well, okay. Well, I turn my back to the view and hold the camera up and kind of over my shoulder and says, "We're at the giant tree." It's hard to tell, but those elephants are gigantic.
Right. And there's probably more of them, but it's tough to get a proper view of it. Are you going to continue to the giant tree, or are you going to bypass it?
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll ask her. What does she think?
Boy,
It's your trip. Do you stop by there on the way out, or just get out?
well, are we gonna? Is there anything else to see if you go actually to the tree?
It's a giant tree. It's
Not
gigantic.
really. It's just a big tree.
All right. Well, I got to tell you, I am dead on my feet. I did not sleep at all last night. I feel like crap.
How quickly could we get out if we just go?
It's going to take you 4 hours at a straight clip if you don't run into any sort of environmental hazards, and I will do 6 checks.
All right. So
What time of day is it now?
You were at 10, 11, 12. It's noon. I said it would take 3 hours, I believe, to get there. 2 hours. I'm going to call it 2 o'clock, 2 p.m.
All right, let's go for it. Let's get out.
All right.
All right. I know she's going to fail her rolls, so I'm just going to rely on Charlie.
Yeah.
Okay. 6 rolls.
You're so fatigued. I'm afraid that you're going to roll 2s.
Are they all Gestalt?
All Gestalt.
Wow. My first roll is a double 1, which still works out to 8, but but I rolled 2 1s, so I lose a point of luck, right?
Yep.
Anything else bad happen? Is that an automatic fail?
Nope. You get to add whatever bonuses you had.
8. Yep.
Your next roll will be at disadvantage. You roll 3 dice.
That's right.
You roll 3 dice and you take the 2 lowest.
Okay, so modified that will come to a 10.
Oh, you still make it. Okay.
Yeah, I've got +6 Gestalt, so.
Yeah, as you should.
Third roll will be a 16.
16 is doubles. That's a critical. So you pass the 4th one and you go right into the 5th one.
5th one is another double 1.
Wow,
There's another point of luck.
And you roll the next one at disadvantage. Did you pass that?
Yeah, it's still 8.
Okay.
The minimum I can roll is 8.
Okay.
And disadvantage on the next one, it would be a 12.
12 it is. Okay. Well, that's as it should be. You should be, you grew up in the zone. You should pass over any routine challenge.
Yeah. Yeah, true enough.
Even if you do take, and these 2s represent like the toxicity
just
of
losing
the
luck.
Yeah, it just eats away at you. Okay, so you make your way out. She's in tow. You make it to the edge. Let's see if you get noticed. You do. You make it to the edge. At the point that it was probably a really good idea as you were running and dealing with all that, because what you remember of those big beasts is that they startle easily and they stampede.
Right.
And yeah, you're looking at like 3-story elephants. So a whole troop of them. You definitely would have been, y'all both would have been dead. There's no way you could have outrun them, especially in her fatigue condition. You make it out, you get noticed, you get picked up. Do you choose to go with them, Charlie, or not?
First of all, I just want to say I definitely could outrun her. So
Yep. You could not run them.
Right. So anyway, no, let's I'm just focused now on getting us out as fast as possible.
Okay, very good. You get picked up, you get taken in, you get to see your doctor.
Yep.
She gets checked up. I'm going to blow through this fast because I know you got to go.
So that aging is permanent, huh?
Oh yeah, it's permanent.
Damn.
And the
That's so ironic.
Wow. Yeah, you aged. So, but
you went into the zone to help further your career. How old were you?
26.
And now you're basically 39. I mean, that's a virtual death knell for a Hollywood actress,
right? I got some amazing footage though, but
Ridley Scott will like it. He likes scars. You did get some great footage, and regardless if the role comes your way, you can turn that into something.
Right. You know what? I'm going to roll a create roll on
a great future ahead of you as a talk show host, perhaps.
The create, very good.
Yeah, let's see how well that came out.
Okay.
That would be a 16.
All right, that's a critical success. So, I will do a check here. And I am going to roll for Ridley Scott. I'm going to say he has a creative 10. I'm just going to, because I like Ridley Scott. So I'm going to say he has a creative 10. So here we go. I rolled an 8, and 10 is 18. So that's above a critical success. So he loved it. He will, offer to buy it.
Excellent.
Flat out. And he will offer you, I'm going to say 50,000 times whatever I roll in 2d6. And I'm going to roll, and I rolled a 7. So 350,000.
Nice.
And he will offer you the roll.
Fan-fucking-tastic.
Okay, here's the problem. I remember when you got bit by those bugs?
Yeah.
Each one of those bites left a malignant cancer. It was microscopic, so they got to get burned away. And I am going to do a check to see if they get them all. And I didn't keep track of the bites, so I'm going to do 2d6 times 2.
Oof.
That's 7. That's 14 for Charlie, and a 2 for our young lady there.
Showing up 4 times.
4 times. Okay, so hers is completely cleared up. Charlie, scars aren't going to hurt you.
Not really.
So let me see if all 14 are going to be cleared up. They're going to be all cleared up. It's going to be easy enough. They're microscopic.
Okay.
They're tiny. All right, I have other notes here. Hold on. If you had used the binoculars when I told you the first time you had binoculars, then you would have seen the beast approaching the rock. You would have seen him rather than hours later. The gold is, in fact, it is 50-50 gold and sand. So you ended up with 16 ounces. So you both have 8 ounces of gold.
Okay. That's worth some money.
It's actually worth more than gold because it's zone gold.
Right. Okay.
So whatever the current value of gold is, it's going to be worth 2d6.
Gold is currently selling at $1,276 per ounce.
$1,280, we'll call it. 1280, and it is times 8.
Woo!
1280
That's
times
great.
8, $10,000 an ounce.
I will sell all 8 ounces of it.
That's 80,000 a piece.
And I will take that tree branch that I still have in the
Yep.
backpack.
The dry one.
Mhm.
Plus all the bottle of sap.
I know that there are people who like to buy things from the zone.
Uh-huh.
So I'll look for somebody that would take a particular interest in this. Somebody who's known for like hiring other rangers, etc., or maybe even going into the zone themselves.
I would say one of the clients that you had in the past was a broker. He went in there to find unusual items, and he'll just buy them straight up.
Yeah, I'll sell it to him, and I'll tell him that if he's interested in finding more of them, I can tell him where they are.
Nope. He wants you to take him.
No,
$1 million.
$1 million. See, I know that he's gonna want to cut the fucking trees down, and that's not gonna work. $1 million is life-changing money, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. If you could leave the zone.
$1 million up front, and another million after return.
What do you have to negotiate that with? You don't have broker. What have you got?
Oh, I don't have any of that stuff, really. I don't have any skills that would work into that.
Okay, well he does. So I'm going to roll. I'm going to say I don't have him, but let's
I
just
just
say
have pretty good mental stats, and I have jack of all trades. That's all I've really got. So
I'm going to say he's at least broker 5.
okay.
All right, and it is a routine challenge for him, and it is a difficult challenge for you. So you roll we're going to do a pose roll.
Okay.
You roll. You're looking for 10 or better, and you don't have any bonuses. And he is looking for 8 or better, and he has a 5. I rolled a 9.
I rolled a 7, so nope.
So he wins, and he says, "You know what? On second thought, I think 750,000 would be more appropriate." You feel that it's slipping away from you.
750,000.
Still a lot of money.
No, I think I'll find someone else that'll be interested. I'm sure. I know where it's at anyway.
Fair enough.
It's nice doing business with you.
Okay, so you got the 80,000. She got the 350 plus the 80,000. You both got an extra 13 years for free.
Yay!
Mm-hmm. With no skills or anything to show for it. Damn it!
Never have a burger girl again.
And you
That's
have
true.
that. Did you sell him the branch, or did you not sell him the branch?
No, I kept the branch. The branch wasn't for sale. It was just to entice.
Ah.
I might have said I was going to sell it first, but no, I'd say it was more of an enticement to say, hey, look, see this? I know where there's more.
Okay.
So I'll keep my branch so I can try to find another buyer in the future.
Because most of your situation near the end was pretty frantic, you didn't even notice, but you're down to maybe 1.5 damage reduction remaining.
Oh,
because you're basically your clothes are just ripped and shredded apart, which is really, you weren't taking your time. You were running through the brambles.
sure.
Right. And so you got cancer. You aged 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
Terrified, fatigued. You got a bunch of gold. Was there anything else?
It's a pretty successful trip to the zone, if you ask me.
Yeah, I got that nice beaten and authentically battered leather jacket.
Yep.
Oh
yeah.
Given
Wardrobe.
The simple life that Charlie leads, I reckon that $80,000 will last him a long time.
Lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Lifetime.
Plus the payment you got from us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. We didn't determine how much he was going to get, but let's say
$10K a day.
Yeah, I could say 10,000 plus a survival bonus if you got her back out again of 50.
There you
So
go.
60,000.
Fair enough.
So you're looking.
Hey, that
what
was
else?
2 days.
Yep.
150,000. So you have 150,000 up front.
Nice.
All right.
So yeah, he's set up for life.
Very cool.
And if you also got the white mushrooms and you know where they are.
Yeah. Oh, I
And-
make frequent trips into the zone to get those
And-
anyway.
And those are only half the value of the blue, but they do preserve, and the blue ones do not.
Okay, fair enough. Good. I'll keep that in mind then. I'll have to get more of those.
Now, in mechanically speaking, context-wise, the panther thing, you'd have died, no question. Yeah, you were dead. You're talking about an 8-foot panther creature,
Yeah, I figured.
and it
Yeah,
runs.
I didn't feel any kind of a yeah, we can take it vibe.
Imagine a tiger, a full-grown tiger that's as fast as a cheetah,
Right.
that's blind as a bat, but has sonar.
Yeah.
Given that we were like
Echolocation.
sitting there with a machete and a hatchet and
No skills.
nope.
Yeah.
And the giant elephants, you were dead. There was no question. Had you set off the spider webs, it would have created a psychic explosion. So you're looking at 3d6 in psychic damage.
Yeah. Wow.
Cool.
If you had made your sanity save, you would have taken half of it.
That mental damage I took, does that like get repair itself over time?
Oh yeah.
It does. I have a formula for that, but again, y'all got to bail. I know that Ian has to bail.
Right. So
He's got like
No, why don't
7.
you go ahead and describe the formula for recovery of that, just so it's on the record, and then I'll end the recording.
Recovering sanity. Sanity in my system, the mental health sanity reflects the remaining stable in the face of terror, injury, grief, and so forth. You are looking at any successes of 12, you automatically gain 1. So if you're doing a sanity check and you rolled a natural 12, you could gain back a luck and a sanity if you were doing a sanity check, a mental health. But it's very specific. It would only during, you can get the luck anytime because you're lucky.
right.
But if you're doing a sanity check or a mental health check and you roll a 12, then you get 1 automatically. And what happens is anytime you roll a 12 or better, you get half of any one of your stats back to original value.
Okay.
So if you'd had a 10 knockdown to a 5, then you'd be back up to a 7 or an 8.
Okay.
Otherwise, it just takes time. You have to recoup it over time. Time, sleep, rest, food. You get 1 point per hour of complete rest, and complete rest is like hospital rest.
Right. Yeah.
With medication, all that. Otherwise, it's 1 point per night.
That makes sense. Yeah, she definitely would have gotten all that care, of course.
Right. Yeah.
Plus
exactly.
the shock of all of her fans are like suddenly she's an old woman.
Yeah. You go into the. Oh, that makes you a celebrity overnight.
Completely changed her demographic too.
Because you keep in mind, she
went into the zone and survived.
Yeah.
It was instantaneous. It wasn't the ravages of time.
Right.
So actually, she probably still looks great. She just
Sure.
looks older because she's still physically. You're still 26 or whatever. You just look older. So you're like a cougar. You just boom.
Right. She went from girl next door to lady next door.
The woman in the back room.
Right. Oh, jeez. Before I was going to say further, I'm going to end the recording. So, thanks for running the game, though, John.
Thank you for coming.